Hello and welcome to the 63rd episode of the Destiny Community Podcast, brought to you by Scuff Gaming Controllers. You're probably wondering why I didn't say blue microphones. We're just going to get that out of the way right out of the way. We are no longer sponsored by them. They found the dead cat ad read. That's just a joke. we decided we're parting ways, but we still like the fucking headphones. Look at Briar still using them, even though he's not
still using the microphone.
And Tefty, even though they're not contractually obligated anymore, still wearing them.
I never really felt like I was contractually obligated, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
No.
really cool.
Let's see. Hold on. There's like one or two more pieces of news. My fire alarm went off today in the entire apartment complex because construction decided to just.
Did your place burn down?
You know what's amazing here, Patrick?
Did they set your balcony on fire?
You spent the last 20 minutes telling us, well, make sure we got a lot to go over, so make sure you don't go long on this random stuff. And then you started off the conversation talking about a sponsor that we no longer have.
Yes. The viewers deserve to know about it. I had to stand for 30 minutes outside to discover that the fire alarm in this apartment complex is not connected to the fire department in any way. Well, it's just a really loud fucking alarm.
You know what? I got news for you. I walked my dog today, and he didn't poop twice, not 3 times. He pooped 4 times today. Which was insane. I had to bag 4 poops, individual poops.
What are you feeding your dog?
Oh my God, guys. We have so much information to talk about. Why are we talking about poop?
Yeah, Pope, go ahead and before we get that information, interview our guest.
Oh my God!
I want to stick with the poop thing personally.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys.
Know that if
he's a 20-pound dog. He's like a Shih Tzu mix, and he had 4 poops today.
He certainly is.
Let's talk to a gentleman who's a connoisseur of poop. He knows the finer gradations of poop. Welcome to the show, Skillup.
Thank you very much. Just glad to be here. What an introduction. Connoisseur of poop. I appreciate that.
That's
the nicest introduction I have ever received.
Hey, talk enough shit about Destiny on your YouTube channel.
Right.
You know, it's I just didn't know. You know, during these interviews, we get to know a little bit more about these content creators that we follow, and I love the videos and reviews you put out on your channel, but you just mentioned how you're a big fan of poop and wanted to stay on that conversation. So I was like,
exactly what I said.
The more you know.
The more you know.
That's right. It's a beautiful segue.
Yeah, beautiful. Absolutely. Well, welcome on the show. I wanted to talk to you because one of the things when I announced that you were coming on the show, it was this, crazy reaction, right? There was 2 camps really like, yeah, Skillup, he's gonna rip Bungie a new one. And then there was the other camp that was like, he's so toxic, I can't hate it.
Yeah.
I can't watch the show. And I just wanted to welcome you to the show because your work, your body of work as a whole, you are an amazing reviewer, and I appreciate the work that you do and the time you put in. You must spend an enormous amount of time on those videos.
I do. I think most of those videos take about 30 to 40 hours to put together per video. So, yeah, a lot goes into them. So
they look it.
Yeah,
thank you. It really does mean a lot to me. So thank you so much. It's super kind of you guys.
Yeah, they're extremely well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And a couple months ago, 2-3 months ago, when we invited you to come on the show, we hadn't seen Destiny 2 yet. We hadn't even had Curse of Osiris or even Destiny 2, but I knew that you were going to be in a position where you would have some clear positions on the game, and I know we're going to talk a lot about that tonight. But did you anticipate finding yourself in this position as a voice for the community?
Well, first of all, really important to say that I don't consider myself a voice for the community. That's super, super, super important. I'm not a voice for the community. I did not expect that the video that I put out would resonate in the way that it did, though.
Which video?
Well, it's funny you say that because like the first Destiny 2 review that I went out, no one really cared, if you know what I mean. Like it was just a review, and it came out like a month after the game was out, and it wasn't a big deal. It was just like a review. And so I honestly thought that this next video would be the same deal. It'd be the same thing where it kind of gets a few views and a few people are like, oh man, you're so toxic, so glad you're leaving, all that kind of stuff. And then that would be it. But then it just, it went completely nuts, unexpectedly. And then, we're in this position now where, again, I am not a voice of the community, but I do think I said some things that resonated with a lot of the community. A lot of people were feeling the things that I said. And, people thought that video did a good job of communicating, summarizing the frustrations, not just of where things are now, but the trajectory as well. Because I think so much of this for me is about trajectory. It's about where things are going. That's the thing that gives me the most reason to step back from the game now. It's not about necessarily what we're seeing now. It's about the trajectory for the future. And I think that's what people really looked at and they're like, yeah, cool. I agree with that. I'm going to take the same step back. So, yeah.
I think you're in the same place with a lot of content creators right now that are exploring other games. Destiny just doesn't really feel like it has enough content to grab a content creator and have that be their only game right now.
But like I was never trying to, I was originally trying to be a Destiny content creator, but I sort of gave up on that a year ago. I was really just about like, at this point I was like, I'm going to just do reviews. I'm going to play, but Destiny, I'd always planned to have be the kind of game that I always play in the background. I'm like, Destiny is going to be my go-to. When I've reviewed Assassin's Creed this month, I'm going to be finally able to log back into Destiny 2 and keep grinding away. It was going to be that game for me. And I've decided that it's not going to be that game for me now, because that's not it's not doing that for me. And that was the decision that I made to step back. So, but yeah, just on the topic of toxicity as well, because I really want to talk about that, because that part actually really gets to me a lot, because like I try really hard to not be toxic, and I feel like when I was I feel like one moment where I was toxic was when I said, fuck you, Bungie, and I specifically wanted to apologize for that on the start of that video, because I was like, yeah, cool, I'm absolutely being the wrong kind of player in this conversation. I don't like toxicity at all. I think it's really bad, and it just personally, that gets to me a lot when people are like, oh, you're toxic, because I'm really working super hard every day to not be. I'm working hard to like put my voice out there, the positives and the negatives, in the most constructive way that I can. Sometimes that does mean, okay, I've got to take a step back from this game and I'm out, but that's not, I'd like to think that's not toxic. That's just me sort of just putting myself out there and saying what I feel,
Having watched a bunch of your reviews, no, you're not. You're absolutely not toxic. That one tweet was definitely out of.
It's a funny time though to be talking about Destiny, even if you are actively playing it and loving it. The feeling that at least I get from everything I read about the game and what they've been doing, like it just seems like one gotcha moment after another in the press about Bungie and about Activision and about Destiny, where we had the XP issue and then locking content but behind the DLC.
There's been a lot of missteps.
But it feels like even if you've got their back, they don't have your back. Like they're not really on our side.
I feel that was a huge driver for me personally with that decision that I made to like take a step back from the game, because I don't believe that Bungie really has our back right now. I don't think that direction that they're going is fully player centric at this point. I think Bungie used to be an extremely player centric developer, and I feel that as they've grown in size and scale, as their operating costs have ballooned, there's a lot more incumbency with regards to what it takes for them just to keep going. And that means that they need to sacrifice some things along the way, and that is in monetization, which we're seeing with the Eververse, but also in the quality of their product. Destiny 2 should not have been released in the way that it was released. It should have been in the oven for another 6 to 12 months. It should have brought across the features that we saw in the previous game, and it should have released when it was done. And they were probably in a financial position where they couldn't do that because the cost of that studio is so huge that they needed to get that cash injection to keep their costs going. They needed to open up the new monetization channel from the Eververse to fund their operations. Also. Well, that's the same thing in my view. It's like ultimately the same thing, So I feel, and I understand that. Like, I'm not blind to that. I'm not just like, they should just not make any money, man, and just who cares about it? Just make game, don't worry about it. They have to worry about the money. Absolutely. They've got hundreds of people they have to employ. But I think there's a number of publishers out there that are doing it much better than Bungie and Activision right now with regards to how they are maintaining their games as a service and what they're putting into them. And I feel that Bungie's and Activision's trajectory here is really off base.
Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is that this community is very split right now. There is a strong vocal part of the community that feels like Destiny is a good game. They enjoy playing, and they feel just as strong that they log in every day and they feel like it's the game that they wanted. And I think when Destiny 2 was created, it was created for a specific audience, and it's resonating with them. There is also an equally vocal audience that's more hardcore, that's more of that hobbyist, that this game was not, that missed the mark on. And those are the people that game did not resonate and are equally upset. And so this rift in the community has created a lot of difficulty in communicating as a whole what needs to be done to fix the game. It's made it challenging as content creators, as community members, to say this is a unifying voice of a direction out of this mess.
There's also a blurry middle ground that's happened as well. Like there is those two extremes, and they tend to be very vocal. But there's also the middle ground of people enjoying the game and also seeing all the problems and saying, it would have been great if
I feel like that's where I sit.
I think a lot of us sit right there. I play it every day. I enjoy the game. Right. I see the problems. And another 6 to 12 months definitely would have helped the game bake so they could solve these things. But at the same time, I'm still having fun with new content. I'm still having fun playing the game. There is no other experience out there right now on PC for me that can give the Destiny universe, the power fantasy that I get. The gunplay is the game, and I can't find that in another game right now. I think that community right there, or that division of the gray section, is having the hardest time of all this, because you kind of get caught in the fray. If you say something good because you're liking something in the game, then there's like there's a mob being like, how could you even enjoy a piece of trash? This is unbelievable. You eat trash every day? Is this what you do? You obviously eat trash every day because you're playing Destiny 2 and you enjoy this. Unbelievable. You know? And then there's the people who are like, don't want to hear anything whatsoever, completely want to be blind to any kind of criticism. And it's
you just get sick of it after a while.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough to be in the middle of it, you know?
It is tough to be in the middle.
And there's a role and a responsibility that we play, or I like to think that we play, as the Destiny Community Podcast. We hope that we represent, and at times, different aspects of the community, and help to highlight those issues that resonate with our viewers. We have a very wide, diverse listener base that listens to us for very different reasons, and we hope that we give everybody an opportunity for their opinion or voice to be heard. Tonight, Skillup is on to talk about, some of the things that didn't quite resonate with him in the game, and I'm very happy to have you on. I appreciate your you've had some astronomical growth on your channel. You're over 250,000 subs on YouTube. Is that your primary medium, or do you also do Twitch or anything else?
No, I've actually kind of given up on Twitch altogether, to be honest. I tried to do it for a while, but I learned that I love reviewing games so much, and the only way to review a game, I feel personally, for me and my style, is to do it in complete isolation from anybody else, because it allows me just to sit there and absorb it. I don't need to worry about entertaining anyone. Yeah. I can just sit there and think it through. So that is why I've pretty much completely given up on Twitch, which is sad, because it's really fun and I enjoy doing it when I do it. But that is what matters to me at this point.
The amount of time that goes into review.
And I work.
You're you actually have a full-time job as well.
I do have a full-time, so I have no time at all. It's just the worst ever. So I have to be really very selective, and unfortunately, Twitch doesn't make the cut in that. So
So talk to me a little bit about your side project. You also have a project going on with your brother, right?
Yeah. So we have a channel called Layman Gaming, which is literally just garbage, clickbait, trash. Sure. Like the whole point of that channel is just to make fun of whatever's going down. Because my brother doesn't actually play that many games, but he enjoys them when he does, and we just like to have a good laugh. And it's a very different outlet, because Skill Up is so serious and time consuming, and then Layman is just literally dank memes and shit posting. You know what I mean? So so it's a perfect balance for me personally to do that sort of stuff.
And that's also a channel, a secondary channel for you.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, so that's that one which has only been around for a few months. And Skill Up I started last year in February. So yeah,
that's awesome, man. Congratulations on your success. We appreciate you coming on the show. We're going to be jumping in. So you're taking a step back from playing the game of Destiny. Does that mean that you just have no opinion on anything that happens in the game of Destiny right now? Are you done?
I am certainly. Obviously, I have an opinion on what goes on in the game. There's no question about that. But I don't plan to put out videos on that. I don't plan to be part of that conversation. I really feel like this podcast is the last thing I will say about Destiny for a while under Skill Up. Like Layman will continue to talk about it.
This is the last word. Yeah, I got it.
I went full Picard.
You're gonna make such a good father, Patrick.
There's no time to explain why that pun was.
No, so that'll be it, and then I'll sort of bow out from here and just let the game grow, and hopefully, and I really hope that it grows and becomes awesome. I really desperately do. But as I said, I'm stepping back because I feel like the trajectory of where it's going and also how much pain and suffering we have to endure along the way is not worth it for me right now. I feel like the cost I'm paying for that is too high, both in terms of emotional disappointment as well as my actual wallet. And so that's more than enough reason for me to step back and say, if you want to go and make this game great, cool, go and do that. I'm just going to go and not be a part of that. And if it happens to arrive at the right place, fantastic. I'd be super happy about that. But if it doesn't, then fair enough. That's how it is, you know?
We're excited to what I'm interested in hearing tonight is your perspective on as we see these changes unfold. And today we had some pretty big announcements coming out, different updates and things like that. Your opinion on, you know, as that section of the community that's taking a step away from the game, is this the kind of moves in the right direction? And it's going to be interesting to hear your feedback on that. So sure. Maybe we can jump.
I got a nice little notepad. I am writing stuff down now, everyone.
I me too.
It's like you're living in the future.
I know. And then I doodle on it. It's great.
Yeah, notepads?
Why do you have notepads?
Because I play Magic and I write down my life totals on my notepads, Pope.
Oh my god!
Isn't there probably
Obviously.
an app for that? I feel like
sorry.
Yeah, there should be.
Yeah, there's got to be an app for that.
There is an app for that, but it doesn't properly record your life total changes and what the life total changes were from. So if you ever get a judge,
this week at Bungie,
Yeah,
we don't care.
So Briar, let me tell you, I was on the phone with Patrick when the alarms went off. And his house might be burning down, right? But he's like really concerned about if he can grab his magic cards and carry them out
in a bag right there. I was like,
and
seriously, that's what his main concern was. He was looking around the house while he's on the phone. So, Pope, I gotta find my magic cards.
I would have been about the kids. The pets
don't have those.
The computer, because it's basically my livelihood.
Life or the apartment insurance can take care of that.
Computer take care of the magic cards.
There is sentimental value in those pieces of cardboard.
We don't want to know.
And also, my renter's insurance cannot cover my Magic collection, so we'll just leave that where it is.
Right.
Let's get into some of the stuff that has been going on in Destiny. We've been playing the newest DLC. We got kind of the second part of the update this week. We got to start collecting and playing with some of the Masterwork weapons.
Yes.
What do you guys think about Masterworks? Like,
I dig
it.
I like it. Yeah. So initially I was kind of like, it gives you like 2 extra bullets in the mag or like something really, really, really small. So I was like, how much is this really going to make me want to play to get them? But one, it's super exciting when you get one for some reason. It just is. It drops and you're like, oh my God. It just gives an extra something little special for getting a weapon drop.
They're super rare. Like
they're very, very rare.
How many do you guys have?
I have 3.
I've gotten 4 total. 3 of them were minimum distance.
Wow.
I've gotten 1.
Dempsey's like, I got 5 million of them. The orb generation is 12? Awesome, though.
The orb generation.
I thought it wasn't going to be good.
Yeah, give or take.
Really?
Like,
yeah.
In total, I think I have 2 weapons that I keep as Masterworks, but then I have enough to make 2 Masterworks now as well. So I've got a lot.
The orb generation, you're right, Watts, it's insane.
You can pick up your own orbs that you make.
That was a big surprise for me. I thought it was going to be like, you make an orb for a team or something like that. Suddenly, I am desperately trying to chain every single kill that I get.
Yeah.
It's you play differently.
Oh, it's amazing.
I got the main ingredient.
Strike scoring came out, right? It made you play the game differently, which made it a little bit more interesting. So it's kind of got that about it, where you just play a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping that we would get something like that in this update, where we'd get strike scoring for,
I think it's coming, right?
It should be coming.
They said that they're working on modifiers, and it might, who knows, it might turn into strike scoring as well. But modifiers for heroics is huge because the fact that they're not in there is just weird, just straight up weird. But like the orb generation is amazing because I started playing strikes, and then once I put a Masterwork into my Midnight Coup, which is officially my favorite hand cannon at this point, I cannot not want to just make as many orbs as possible during every single strike. My record is like 50 something right now. I have to break that.
Now, are you they're small orbs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And do you feel like how many extra, like in a given strike, how many extra supers are you getting from that?
2.
Yeah.
I've been averaging it, and I'm averaging 2 more golden gun supers per strike. So much so that I can generally, in a single boss fight, as long as one other person in my party team uses a super, I can generate up to 3 supers during the Arcology strike. So I get 3 celestial golden gun shots off during that, which takes off about half the boss's health just on its own.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I was kind of surprised. If everybody has a Masterwork and you have the same thought of like, oh man, I need to make these orbs, and you're collecting those, you actually start chaining supers really well. It's surprising.
I'm going to say that I like the rarity of Masterworks. I like the concept of Masterworks. I want more variety.
Yeah.
Masterworks.
Oh yeah, they definitely need to add on to this. I think what we have right now is a pretty solid foundation for it, but it is definitely just the foundation. They need to build on it. But I think they could have something really interesting there if they keep building on it.
Yeah.
The thrill of finding them will be gone very shortly too. Like once you've got your 5 favorite weapons leveled up, and you start just kind of randomly upgrading, your lesser used weapons, like that thrill is going to go away really quick.
Yeah.
The orb generation though, that's going to stick around, and that's going to change, I think, PvP and PvE. Just having more supers more of the time is more fun.
I feel that for me, I feel the Achilles heel of this entire game right now is the PvP and PvE games being linked in terms of itemization.
Yeah.
I feel any system that has the potential to decouple those 2 games is a very critical system.
And I really feel Masterworks isn't that connecting it? Though you look at when you have the option of a PvE or PvP.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. That's exactly what I'm thinking. So the potential for Masterwork for me is allowing a different path of itemization that is specific to PvE. So if you want to make your weapon super OP strong, because personally it's cool that there's extra orbs, but I really want something that goes further than that. I think the power fantasy provided by other games is more interesting to me at this point. And that kind of power would unbalance PvP. So therefore the chance for Masterwork to just go razor focused changes to PvE game, that for me says, okay, cool, they're going to be able to do some interesting stuff with this, and that is a system that I look at, and I really hope they'll do big things with it because it's got huge potential. Potential.
It does.
Chris Barrett was on Twitter today, kind of hinting that this change is also coming to armor, like a Masterwork system coming to armor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, the grind's going to be real.
It was a very strong hint.
Yeah. Like winky face.
Yeah, January Masterworks for armor now.
And then kind of along in that same Twitter thread, he was also talking like the perk system was also getting a very strong look at.
That's good.
Yes, they're trying to make they're trying to make some of the things less confusing, right? Simpler in that when you're looking at the mod system, right? And so when you're looking at that and your light or your level, it seems like it's confusing to a lot of people. Like, what can you upgrade? What can't you?
It's just okay. So I want to basically, when I inspect a mod thing, I don't want to see like all the choices that can go in it that I have. I want to see all choices that can go in it that are possible in general.
That would be
like,
fantastic.
And like, so then I could know what builds I'm capable of going for instead of just going like, well, now I have to go look up a guide on the internet to know what new mods got added to the system, because it just doesn't tell you that, oh, you could only get solar and void in boot grenade stuff in boots, but not arc. And you're just like, I don't know.
I'd also like not to see blue mods ever again.
Yeah, blue mods are
incredibly useless and just take up room.
If you remember back in vanilla Destiny when we you got to a certain light and a green engram drop
just turned into
automatically get turned into
weapon parts.
Yeah. I really feel like that we need to go somewhere with that. Just with the mods and just those blues need to be automatically.
Yeah, for sure.
I've actually been looking at them and saying, okay, I'm gonna get rid of all the munition reload crap, all that, like the ones that I'm never gonna use. I just automatically delete those blue ones, and then I keep the armor perk ones. So like mobility, resilience, recovery, all that. I keep those blues because eventually they stack up. And I found that my mod management has become way better now that I just automatically get rid of the ones where I don't need another Void Paragon. I already got a bunch of those, so I just always delete those.
You always need more Void Paragon.
Oh my god, I have like 35 of them. I want 36.
So I just end up deleting all the blue ones I know that I'm never going to use, and I keep the armor mod ones, and eventually they turn into more legendary versions, because I actually still need a bunch of legendary versions of those. But I'm with you, Briar. Like I can't stand the blue mod system. It's super annoying. But I feel like I finally wrapped around my head how I can just handle it every time. I go in, I get weapon parts, I delete the ones I could care less about, and then I save the ones that I want to turn into legendaries.
I've wrapped my head around how to handle it too, is I just completely ignore it.
We need more vault space. Let's be real. We do.
See,
it's like the dishes in my sink.
It's 2017, and we're still talking about vault space.
I know. I mean, we have the ability to spend all of our money on tests, right? Like we can do that, and we can get all of these cool items, and then we have to delete them because we have no space for them in the vault.
Well, that's perfect because then you get to spend more to get it back after you delete it.
That's right.
Why
cycle
don't we
continues.
have the kiosk? Like we've had kiosks for ships and sparrows. Like why is that?
Why do we have so many shaders that we don't have room for?
There's one more thing I wanted to talk about Masterworks, if I could real quick.
Yeah. That's fine. I was going on a rant. I'm sorry.
You guys know when you dismantle it and you get the Masterwork cores that you can use to upgrade stuff? Yeah. I think the biggest complaint I've seen that I really, really agree with is people were like, what do you mean I only got one core from this? That means I'm going to have to get 10 Masterworks. Not entirely true. You could get 4 Masterwork weapons if it gets if you get 3 core. It drops basically 1 to 3 whenever you dismantle a Masterwork weapon. So you know what you need to do to upgrade your weapon, but you don't know how long it's going to be, which is kind of the problem Destiny has always had with everything, where I want to upgrade my Better Devils. Okay, I need to get 5 more Masterwork weapons because I know they're going to dismantle into 2 Masterwork cores, because that's basic math now at that point. But when you add this whole RNG system, it makes the upgrade system seem
some of these
more
things
frustrating.
Should not be RNG based.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
We don't need RNG on everything.
I'll be honest. I could care less if I get 1 or 3. I
don't really care.
For me, this is I'm an end game player. I'm the person that invests a lot of time in the game. So having to get a few more Masterworks on this journey of making another weapon an actual Masterwork is perfectly fine for me. It doesn't affect a new player who only has, say, 5 hours a week to jump in the game. They can still easily collect all these weapons. They're just not getting a small benefit of the Masterwork and the orb generation stuff. But they could start working on it, because once they start getting one of those, and if they do get 10 weapons, then they're guaranteed. If they get super lucky with their RNG, then 3 or 4 weapons, like you said.
So just on that point, do you think, because I have not logged in since they implemented Masterworks, do you think it's an end game system for hardcore players only, or do you think it's accessible to casual players as well?
Well, because it will randomly drop, and if you do the raid, there's a high chance, it's still accessible to the casual player base. But as a hardcore player, I want every single weapon that I want to use a Masterwork. I want my kinetic energy and power weapons and all of them that I use to be of that quality.
Gives you something to go after, to min-max on instead of being nothing there for you to do.
It's a good, we keep saying it's about just about everything, but it's a good step in the right direction.
It really is, though. It really is. Yeah. Like, we have seen Bungie take steps in the right direction, and that's the best way to describe it. That's what they're doing. They haven't fixed it all. We didn't wake up and the game was everything we ever wanted. They are taking steps in the right direction.
It feels a little bit like we're dancing the salsa, though. Like we're like,
I wouldn't know.
No, for sure.
Okay, we're doing this dance where we are, and I understand that we want to be positive about the game, and I really appreciate Masterworks, and it is a step in the right direction. I just want to keep the momentum, right?
We want to do the foxtrot.
I want to do
the forward motion, not the salsa going back.
I only know the Tennessee Waltz. Sorry. The one other thing about Masterworks, I think I was really happy to see this in chat on Tuesday, Wednesday, every day that I streamed. People were asking questions about weapons in terms of like, what is how should I, re-roll my Better Devils? What is the best way to re-roll my Uriel's Gift? Because players can now have that extra little bit of personality and customizability to the weapon, so the weapon, their loadout becomes theirs and not just the cookie cutter loadout anymore. So that increases how much we want to actually play the game and get that thing and make it ours instead of just putting a shader on it. So
I feel like the answer to that question is always going to be ranged, though.
No,
definitely
no.
So I have a question for you guys regarding Masterworks and what they're doing to legendary guns. In Destiny 2, I feel like exotics really are not like part of that deep, power fantasy that Skillup was talking about. They're a little bit more muted in their approach of how they apply to your gameplay, right? They're not these huge. Besides for like a handful of exotics, most of them are just really good legendaries, in my opinion. With the addition of Masterworks, are we going to start seeing us and just not having any exotic really kitted? I mean, are Masterworks going to take the place of?
Always is one step away from giving me full heavy power ammo. Sorry. It will never be out of my inventory because of that reason.
Yeah, but
they fix that.
You're basing it off of a exploit. But yeah.
No, I mean there's still plenty of exotics that are worth using.
Merciless is good.
Yeah, Merciless is fantastic. Crimson is great in the raid because you just constantly get your ammo back if you're getting crits and all that.
Yep. They're just not as they're just not. I'd like to see. I guess my point is that I'd like to see if we're getting some love to legendaries.
You want to see it to exotics as well.
I want to see exotics get some love and keep their place.
They said that this is the first step. They're tracking kills and that's it. Like you can make it a Crucible or a Vanguard Masterwork to literally just track kills. That's the only thing right now. That doesn't sound like they are separated, but it doesn't sound like a fully thought out feature, right? Because it isn't a fully thought out feature. This is a step in that direction. Right. Yeah. So hopefully down the road, it's like your my Midnight Coup. I've already got 1,000 kills on there. I would like it to then unlock maybe some other type of mod system or something, or some other type of thing that happens with the gun after each level of amounts of kills that is tracking to then expand on that Masterwork. So it really does feel like it's becoming my weapon that I put time invested.
Would you ever use a legendary that's not a Masterwork at this point?
Yes, because I only have one.
So, but let's say
if given the choice.
Let's say in a while you'd always use it, right?
Yeah.
So why would we not just make like this whole system just extends to all of legendaries? Why don't we just do that? I think it's more fun and it's better.
Isn't it?
Well, it does right now. Plan. It does extend to all.
But what I'm saying is, why is there this need to work towards it? Like, if it's more fun and it's better, and you would never want to use a normal legendary, why don't you just make the whole system?
Get rid of. Well, right now it gives us something to grind for. It gives us something to do in the game. Right? Yeah. That's one of the complaints about Destiny 2 is that you gave us all these planets to explore and adventures and all this stuff to do, but no reason to do it. And Masterworks, for a short time anyway, has given us a reason to get in there and like a goal, like a long-term goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so every time I'm running strikes or whatever, I'm always hoping that the reward at the end of this thing is going to be a legendary engram that turns into a Masterwork.
Right. Okay.
For a short period of time.
So it's a case of like, it does make the game better and you want to have to work towards that rather than just having it sort of handed to you immediately and all legendaries are immediately updated to Masterwork.
Yeah. It's more exciting to hunt them.
It's a Band-Aid right now on a gushing wound. And but it is an effective Band-Aid. It will give us just a little bit about it. It's a butterfly bandage. It's going to give us.
Why I like the forge weapons too is because I have to go out and grind for them.
Right.
I have a story about each of those forge weapons. Even if I don't really like the forge weapon, I remember what I was doing when I got it.
I have a question for you guys regarding the Masterworks because I only have one. Do you know if you delete a Masterwork gun, does it reset the stat counter?
It's probably just that gun.
I believe it's tied to that gun.
Yeah.
I would love to see us continue that theme and be able to explore and advance individual guns and have them have, like Briar's saying, a story and make it matter that we have this gun and we were able to bring it with us, right? And you know, upgrade it in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think that we're going to see Masterworks options that are in the maybe different levels up to exotic? Do you think we're going to get something that represents maybe
exotic Masterworks?
Just different scales and levels of Masterworks.
I fully expect them to advance this system. Like I expect this to be the vanilla. Like here's the stuff in the ecosystem right now. You can check out the basics, and then I want it to grow from there. Because if they put a kill tracker in there, and that's it, that's going to be the most disappointing feature ever.
It's pretty.
I'd like to see us get. I'd like to see us get really cool player cards. You know,
I want more cool stuff.
College
stuff.
I want them to take everything out of Eververse and tie it into
a record book.
Yeah, something that you're doing.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
I think
like that cool ass ship, the glass.
How about they just take everything out of Eververse and put it back where it came from?
Don't be ridiculous. God, you madman.
Get rid of Tess? Can we bring
Stop
back
it.
Ava Levante? She just had wonderful shaders and emblems to give
Ava?
us. I don't know. Is she dead?
I
think Tess pushed her off the tower.
She didn't sell loot boxes.
She's like, oh, the Cabal are coming.
Tess was like, you're selling my shaders for free. Yeah, sorry.
Tess tripped her. Like there were a pack of dogs chasing like Tess and her, and she just tripped old Ava. Gave the dog something to go after.
Ava just wasn't, she just wasn't a good business woman, and
that's right.
And was and she lost her business because she wasn't, she wasn't running her business well. And here comes
because Activision shareholders fired
the return on investment, man. It's all about ROI, and Ava just wasn't producing.
Well, it's nice to see that we're getting we're getting them looking at things in the right direction. We're getting them to they're not but they are looking at the way that we play the game. So far, I feel like the changes that have been made are getting me to play the game more.
Same.
Oh, for sure. And I actually wanted to play while not streaming for the first time in a long time.
I did today.
Yeah, I was like, I want to hop in, do some Crucible, get some materials, work towards a weapon. Like, yeah.
Maybe get a Masterwork randomly because it drops.
Do a couple milestones, just try to.
And people are popping those gifts too in the Crucible, Crucible
so
especially.
Cool.
Yeah.
I get like 50 rewards after.
It's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Dude, I finished a strike and a guy had dropped one of the gifts, and I hadn't even really considered him and used him, and I didn't even know it was active, and literally on the side of my screen just scrolled and it kept going up and it was
that's just
really
a normal
cool.
Strike now, like seriously.
But the strikes I recorded, have you guys stopped at a strike and seen the chest like explode?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Step back and
You're
don't
up.
run
I do. I always
and
step back.
it just looks like a fountain.
Yeah.
It's really neat. I think the direction that they're going with that is really cool.
So
I feel like, and just to be a little bit contrarian, I don't mean to be doing this deliberately, but like the thing that doesn't attract me about Masterworks is that like it just feels so it just feels so small. Like it just feels like cool. You get some orbs, and that's cool. And I don't want to shit on the idea because as I said earlier, I do believe it has legs into the future. But I'd much rather Bungie go large and fail large than take iterative baby steps, because I felt like Destiny 1
fail large here.
No, but fail large with ambition. You know what I mean? Like I'm all for failing large if you really strive towards something big and crazy. That's fine. That's okay. But I just feel like I look at the Masterwork system and I look at that system and I think in 18 months it might be cool, and right. I don't look at it now and think, I absolutely have to log in to get those extra 2 orbs per strike, two supers per strike, and that's why I look at it and I'm like, and again, I know people get pissed off when we talk about other games, but there are other games in the looter shooter genre that are doing a hell of a lot more ambitious stuff when it comes to customization, build, player power fantasy, all this stuff. And I'm like, just do some of that stuff over there, bring it into Destiny, make it so it's only in PvE. Cool, do that.
I don't think there's anything in Curse of Osiris that if you have decided, you know what, Destiny 2, it's just not for me, there is nothing here that's going to bring you back. Yeah. Nothing. If you're still having fun with Destiny 2, then there's some cool stuff for you. But there's nothing that's going to bring a lapis player back.
But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. There's a chance for us to speak to Bungie, to like look into the camera and be like, guys, it's okay to fuck up. Okay, try some big shit. Don't worry, we've got your back, because you tried the little baby steps, iterative, we're only going to change 1 or 2 things approach, and we don't like that. It's boring. So just do some crazy shit, and if it blows up in your face, that's okay, because we're up for that now. Like, we've seen what it's like to trickle out changes by degrees, and that's not the cure for what ails us right now. So we just get there. We in my view, I would have Bungie's back if they went out and said, fuck it, we're just blowing up everything, here we go. That's what I want to see from Bungie in the next little while. And I get it, they need to be responsible with their systems and they need to honor the player base that are currently enjoying the game, but I feel like there's a way to do this and just go crazy with it, and Masterworks is not quite what I'm looking for.
Well, if they go with that route of fuck it and blow some stuff up, I mean, you have the undo feature, and basically if something doesn't work, you can go back and undo it.
You know what you got now? You got a PC client that can have a player test realm. So you can build something, you can test it on there. I know console people will be upset. Don't worry, the Division went through that whole thing where they feel like they're being cut off. But if you want to test a feature so that it works and you want to get live player feedback on something, leverage the Battle.net client, push out a PTS, try some crazy shit, and if it works, bring it to the live game. Do you know what I mean? Simple as that.
And speaking of them kind of hitting the undo button in a way, the another part of this update was a hotfix to the prestige activities, basically a lot of the in-game activities that were locked out by Curse of Osiris. And
I'm really glad they did exactly what they did in response to this, because it was bad.
There's a mea culpa there. I think they you can take it. You can take it one or two ways. That they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, or they, neither way, it's not acceptable, right? They either got caught doing something shady, or they made these decisions and there's a level of incompetency there, right? So there's, either way, it's not a good sign. But the reproach to making it right is a good sign.
I just feel like the whole thing about the prestige activities and whatever, it's super important, don't get me wrong, but I just feel it really obscured a much more important question about value that was provided with that expansion and with what we're seeing right now. And the thing that really, as I said in my review, that really ticked me off a lot was, the heroic strikes inclusion in that DLC paywall thing. It's kind of like, yeah, cool, some people were pushed out of an experience that they rightly paid for, and that shouldn't have happened, but there was I think a broader challenge, which is did you really get your value for money with that expansion? In particular, should you really be paying for certain things that I feel that should have been there in the first place? And I feel that's a more fundamental question that is not being answered. And I feel like The Dawning, which I'm sure we'll get to soon, is a perfect example of the fact that Bungie are not particularly focused upon delivering us value right now. If they were, they wouldn't be shoveling everything into tests. They wouldn't be gating off heroic strikes, as I said. That's another thing. But the Dawning, I think, is an example of that. Bungie still have not learned this lesson and are not interested in providing us value for what we've bought, and are in fact interested in really monetizing this game aggressively, or seeing how far they can go with it.
I agree that there is that pessimistic approach to their decision making, and I see the argument and going, okay, well, yes, but I don't believe, and maybe I'm holding out, but I don't believe that they're a predatory company. I just don't.
Okay, I disagree with that at this point, because I think that I do think that loot boxes are inherently predatory, right? If you want that shader, that company has the ability to sell that shader to you. Sure. They can make it unlimited, or they can, better yet, just give it to you by doing an activity for free. The very concept of a loot box is designed to make you spend more money than you should otherwise, or spend more time than you should otherwise, with the intent that you will eventually spend. So the idea that loot boxes and Bungie is not predatory, I know that's an uncomfortable notion, because I love Bungie too. Don't get me wrong. I do. I love them a lot. But they are now a very, very large developer that is in bed with the largest publisher in the world. And there's a way that those publishers are doing business right now, and it is predatory. It is about exploiting your time or your money, rather than just giving you what you want for free, or even at a compromise point, giving it to you at a fair price. Like Warframe, for example. I know a lot of people don't like it, but at the end of the day, you want a sword, you buy that sword and it's yours. There's a price on the ticket. You can pay for it or not. There's no gambling involved. You just get it. You know what I mean? That's not a complicated concept. Massive. Imagine if you walked into a car dealership, I'd like a car, and they say, choose from one of these 3 boxes. We'd be like, that's ridiculous. Imagine if we went to go buy a stick of gum from the local chemist, and it's a 30-cent stick of gum, and they say, well, choose this box. It's a random choice. You're going to think that's fucking ridiculous. But in the world of video games, we're okay to do that. That's like the one place. It's the one place in the world where we're happy to fork over money at a random chance of something that we actually want. And that is crazy, like that needs to stop. And
I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you that the Eververse and loot boxes are a horrific idea. We've got from record back until time memorial of this podcast of me saying that I never thought that having having random paid loot boxes was a good idea, and we've seen where it's progressed. And I think that this is also a conversation of the industry as a whole, not just Bungie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think 100%. That there is a epidemic happening right now within video games where this is acceptable. And I feel like the changes that are being made right now there's some companies that are doing really good examples of moving away from loot boxes, and I really hope, and I'm with you on this one, Scallop, that Bungie really embraces that decision and goes in that direction and moves away from loot boxes.
Because like Bungie are better than this. Like, I'm sorry, but they are. Like, they've done too many good things, and they're too important to the industry for them just to throw in the towel and just be like, fuck it, we're just gonna do loot boxes like everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many developers, I don't care what they do. Like, whatever, man. But Bungie, you know what I mean? Like, it's Bungie. Like, they should not do this. And they should say, hey, we've created something incredible because we care about community. If there's any developer that's been community-centric over the years, it's been Bungie. There have been a number of them. They're not the only one, but they are certainly a community-centric developer. And loot boxes and monetization like this is inherently anti-community.
How would you feel if if Tess's inventory was completely available for purchase with Dust, and then the loot boxes themselves were only earnable via XP?
Yeah, look, I don't like that idea either, because I paid like $60, $80 Australian, by the way. I paid like $140 for this game or whatever. I kind of feel like I paid $140. Everything you want to give me from this point on should be free. I should be able to earn it in game.
So that's not the question. The question is, can you? Well, I'm going to add to that, Tefty.
Sure.
So yes, you should be able to buy everything from Tess.
Remove the RNG, just like you said. I want this car. I want to buy this car right now.
But listen to this. That is going to be made available, just like other games that are out there. But you are also able to earn that in game.
Right. I think we can all agree that all of Tess's items should be earnable in game. That's obvious, right?
So the way that I feel about it is back when TES, I guess, kind of first came into things, we still had ships, we still had shaders, we still had ghosts, we still had a lot of stuff that we could earn, and we could go for that, trial ship, all of that stuff we could earn. But then there was some stuff that we could choose to get from TES if we so wanted to. We also got like free boxes for doing Prison of Elders and all that kind of stuff. I feel like that I was actually kind of comfortable with, because there was still this huge amount of loot that I could go and earn. But if I wanted like, the ghost, for example, I could choose to, okay, I'm going to go get ghost. But there was still all these other ghosts that I could get. I could still buy stuff from
you
TES.
couldn't just go buy ghost. Though you had to.
I'm saying I know that. I'm saying I could still go to Amanda Holiday, who was actually useful back then, and I could go and buy. She's selling the ship that hasn't been around for like the entirety of Destiny 1. I'm gonna go buy that ship. So I just feel like I was okay with that, where it's like there's some cosmetic stuff in here that you can go for, but we still had all of this loot available to us in the game. Whereas right now, we don't have any of that. We don't have any of that stuff available in game.
Let's just go back 10 years.
50% of the loot is behind loot boxes.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Let's go back 10 years, right? And be like, if you played this conversation to people 10 years ago, they'd think we're fucking crazy.
They were yelling about horse armor 10 years ago. One DLC that you bought specifically.
This is what happens when things get normalized to this degree,
That's true. Yeah.
Because now we're like, hey, charge me for that. It's like, you've already paid $140 for this game. Americans, you would have paid what? $100 for this game, right?
More
$80, whatever. Yeah, right? You paid your money, man. You paid for it. It's yours already. Like, why would you want to spend more money? Now, I get if it's a free-to-play game. Warframe is a free game. It's free. They need to monetize. They need to charge us for that sword if we want it. But by the way, Warframe gives you this whole other economy that you can pursue if you don't ever want to spend. But that's a whole other discussion. But like, you've already paid. Why would you want to pay again? It's
the entire
just
game has a free-to-play type model.
And it's not like this is an inevitability, by the way. Like, there are so many publishers out there that are doing this right, that are providing ongoing content for free, in AAA games. Like, it's a thing.
How are they monetizing that, though?
Well, I mean, I think Ubisoft is an example, right? They have different models that they're employing, like Rainbow Six Siege season passes, for example. It's a controversial model, but I think it's a good model, where they say, we're going to charge you $20 or whatever for this year's worth of content, and you get your operators and whatever else, and that's the sort of ticket to ride every year. Now, that's not predatory for me, because I feel like I get the thing that I want. Now, it also has loot boxes in there. I'm not saying it's a perfect model, but I'm saying that part of it is pretty.
What do the loot boxes have?
They have the cosmetic stuff in them, like the weapon skins and all that sort of shit. So,
but that's identical to what we have right now.
Yeah, sure. I'm not saying that's perfect, but what I'm saying is I'm happy to hand over $20 to them to say, here's your ticket to ride on, your new operators. Here's your season pass that you can pay for. And I know what I'm getting, and I'm really comfortable with that. You know what I mean? It's same with Warframe. It's a free game that charges me a fair price for a fair product. I'm okay to hand that money over, but I'm not okay to hand it over when, I've already paid $60 for a game and I'm paying for loot boxes, and the grind towards those the things that I want is hidden behind that loot box economy.
I especially don't like it when you designed the game to take advantage of these loot boxes. You designed it with the loot boxes in mind, like so
exactly
clearly.
Right. And this is the whole point with this as well. Like, the whole slippery slope thing is, whatever. But at the end of the day, look at Star Wars Battlefront 2. You know what I mean? This is what happens when you bring these monetization practices into these games. Developers are incentivized to make your life more difficult so that you will want to spend money. It just makes sense. It's a fact. Look at the job posting that went up on Bungie for the loot box person who's designing to design Chase and Brigation. Now, for the record, I think that job posting is perfectly reasonable in the sense that you do need to be conscious of that. But what I'm saying is that there's a link between progression and chase and the way we see our characters and all this sort of stuff and loot boxes. Like, it's woven into the soul of the game at this point, and I don't like that.
I agree with most of this, but I think the disconnect that's happening right now is that it sounds like you still don't like it, even if you can directly purchase that item that's in the game right now. And
not in a game where I've already paid $140 for it. Do you know what I mean?
But So
there's people who would want to and be happy with spending that extra money if they don't have the time to grind a game. They're giving another option for somebody that's a casual player like myself.
I would challenge you to find that person.
It's me, right here.
You would rather go to Eververse and open a loot box. They get that reward from finishing a raid.
No,
for real?
No. This is not what I'm saying. Listen, you're. What I'm saying is that I get 3 to 4 hours to play a week, and I'm in a position where I make a decent living. I don't mind, if I'm not going to be able to grind Destiny out of my mind to get whatever loot is in the game. If the end game content was there, I like the opportunity to be able to say, if that ship is something that I want and I've got money for it, why does it matter to you if I spend $5 to buy it?
Because the major problem is the entire game is built around knowing that you will.
Correct.
Knowing that you will.
100%. 100%.
And a majority of the players can't.
Yeah. When the end game is built around getting these loot boxes, then it's a problem. And that's what we've experienced in Destiny 2. I 100% agree. That's a huge problem, and they need to move away from that. They need to abandon that ship because it's awful for the end game. But I don't also agree with the fact that they should take it out completely. So if somebody only has 5 hours a week to play and they want to get this cosmetic item, if they want to get the salty emotes and have some money that they can put towards it, and it also helps improve it also helps the developers make the game, further, then I'm okay with that. But the crux of the problem is the fact that our end game content feels like it's been gutted and put into these loot boxes.
That is the problem. 100%
and that's what I'm saying. What if it's not in loot boxes? It's in the game. It's not in a loot box. You're no longer in a loot box. You're not.
Yeah, but don't
getting
forget
a loot box.
but the Dawning, I think, actually said specifically that you're going to be able to buy the Dawning's
speaking
inventory.
Hypotheticals.
No. But I'm actually saying, in actual fact, the Dawning post that I read this week said that that don't worry if you can't get what you want, because Tessa's shelves will have everything that you want. And you'll be able to buy it with Bright Dust. Now, that is a developer saying to you, hey, guys, get excited about a new update. We're going to give you 3 engrams a week, I think. 1 engram a week over 3 weeks. And it's probably not going to be enough for you to get everything that you want. But don't worry, you can buy the rest with Dust. And that was a line in that text, and I was just like, wow.
They're not moving in that direction that I'm suggesting. They're not moving in the direction that I think is a better direction where there are. The Dawning is the way that it's written is upsetting to me.
Yep.
It's the wrong direction, and Bungie needs to change course, and that's not at all what I'm talking about. What we were talking about is a hypothetical removal of loot box from the system and being able to have end game rewards that you are able to go towards, and that do something like Fortnite,
end game cosmetics,
end game cosmetics,
not rewards,
and then cosmetics, and then do something similar to Fortnite or other games where if you want to buy something, you can.
I mean, I feel like I've paid $140 for this game.
You can get it. So then don't buy it then.
The other option is that you simply have to pay more for games, because in studios that have 800, 900 people, $60 per game plus the DLC isn't enough to pay all of those people.
Says the developer and the publisher.
It's just a fact.
That's a fact. It's not. That's been used as an argument by Activision and EA, but I mean,
no, that's not where I got my information.
They're also recording record profits year after year.
Yeah, I mean, look, I looked at.
Of course, loot boxes are extremely profitable. Of course they are, but it's.
I looked at EA's annual reports for the last 6 or 7 years, and their cost of development has gone down since 2009.
For which
they're spending for all of EA, all of their studios. You know what I mean? So development costs are not rising at the exponential rate that I believe everyone thinks they are, or at least publishers like to imply that they are. Of course, it's very expensive to make a game like Destiny, but let's be real here. Destiny 2 reused a very large number of assets from the first game. There is no way that Destiny 2 cost more to make than Destiny 1. No way.
They employed another 400 people, 300 people from D1 to D2, plus an extra studio, plus 2 extra studios. So I
don't mean to be rude, but like, what were they doing then, if that is the case? Like the sequel, the sheer volume of content that was not new, like what were they doing to create that?
Well, you had all of the studio that made the PC version, right? So you had all of that. That wasn't just a copy and paste from console to PC. It was built for PC.
I think that there is an inherent unsustainability in the AAA games model. And I think Jason Schreier of Kotaku has written extensively about this. He's written a book recently called Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, talking about the fact that these publishers are not built the right way. And they are forcing themselves to go down this path where they have to find new ways to monetize. And they're taking the easy route to do that with these loot boxes and the like. And I think it has corrupted the gaming industry in 2017. Like, I do feel that way. And I feel that there is a systemic shift needed on the part of large-scale AAA publishers so that they can make money sustainably and we can get the games that we want without feeling like we're missing out on huge chunks of it, without having to spend more money. We need to get to a point where both of those camps are happy. Some people have already found that happy medium. Some publishers are already doing it. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're finding it. And some of them aren't. And I feel like Activision and Bungie have not found that balance yet.
I think that you're right that we are in a position at a moment, and this is exactly, I know we have a ton of other stuff to talk about this, but this is a quintessential point that I feel like you're really eloquent and able to speak about. I think you represent a part of the community and the gaming community that is fed up and upset with loot boxes. There is a point where game developers are, and I think this latest, piece with EA and what happened with Battlefront is a prime example of that. I think what we're going to be seeing, and it's this dawning in this piece, is too soon for a company like Bungie to react. But I hope that we are going to be in a position where they are going to be reacting and are going to be on the right side of history moving forward.
Yeah, I hope
I really hope that. I really hope that because I agree with you on the premise that loot boxes are toxic to games, and it's toxic to Destiny, and that that Eververse should be in the game. Eververse content should be in the game and end game rewards. Where I differ with you, and it's just a small point, but I think it does have big implications, is how they choose to then monetize their system. Is it the charge? How much are they going to charge for DLCs? What is the true value of content, and how are they going to make their money as a company? And so those are good conversations to have. And I don't think any of us in this room really have enough experience in the industry to really have that conversation here. But I do think that they do need to not be charging the same amount for video games now that they were 10 years ago. And I think that as a consumer, we're going to need to start seeing games cost more. And that's. But
we already have, and let's be really clear. This DLC, Osiris, was almost certainly made during the development cycle of the main game, and I'm going to bet the next one was as well. And so that is factored into the cost. So the idea, and Jim Sterling has done a very good video on this. A number of other people have written and done videos on this. The idea of the $60 AAA game is pretty much dead. It's very much about the expansions that are made during the core development cycle and priced in, given the attach rate of season passes. So I agree with you that there does need to be a price adjustment because it needs to be valuable. Like, we need to feel like we're getting value for money. And right now, too many people feel ripped off. So if that means that games go up $10, I mean, sure, let's talk about that. I'm not averse to that. Not at all.
Yeah, the system that they have in place is obviously not working. I think everybody in this podcast would you all agree that we all are in a position where this system is currently in one way or another agitating the community and dividing us in a way that we don't want.
Been talking about nothing but this for the past 5 damn weeks. I'm pretty sure.
Pretty
sure. It's not gonna stop, Patrick. I hate to say it.
It's
God damn it, it's our new
thorn.
But I think It's our responsibility.
We're something else to yell at each other about.
We're the Destiny Community Podcast, and there is a huge piece of the community that is upset about this, and we need to highlight it. And I'm really appreciative that you are that we are, we're digging in on this, and that we're making a voice heard. And I want to take a second too. I learned a lot by watching your video about the Wilson loot boxes, and I'd like to second to just pimp that out. If you haven't seen Skillup's video about the Wilson loot boxes, is that a term you came up with, the Wilson loot box?
Yeah,
I see it all over the web now. I see it on Reddit and everything.
Yeah, that was the title of the video. So
yeah, it's a great video, and it's worth checking out if you haven't seen it yet.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
I went through and I rewatched all your videos over the last 10 videos you've done, just so I can have a sense of your approach to your problem solving. And it was informative. I'm glad we're getting to some of the finer points of where we disagree on things. But I do appreciate the forum of this podcast and the professionalism that we're all, that we're respectfully having a conversation and disagreeing respectfully.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we all love Bungie. I know a lot of people. I've made my thoughts known about Bungie, but this all comes from a place of come on, I really love you guys. I really love what you create. You know what I mean?
I still do. I still love the designers. I love the guys that create the guns and the levels and the lore and the story. It's so
the
good,
man.
Bean counters I don't like.
I think that's pretty spot on. And I just, so much of me just hopes desperately that Bungie is able to conquer the bean counter boss, and just get back onto it, because they're just so amazing when all systems are humming, when it's all going, they produce some really amazing stuff, and Destiny as a franchise has been so incredible. I just can't wait for it to get back to that point.
One of the things that we loved about Destiny 1 was the Grimoire, and one of the requests we had was that lore and Grimoire would be, and great storytelling would be focus of Destiny 2. That's debatable as to whether or not that goal was achieved. One of the things that is brought up in this week at Bungie is that they're coming out with a comics book series, and did you guys read that?
Mm-hmm. It'll basically be going over Osiris at the very beginning, when he was still with the Vanguard, so to speak.
The irony wasn't lost on me of the title, though. So
Osiris' fall, or fall of Osiris.
Fall of Osiris. But are any of you guys excited about that? Are you going to get that?
Yeah, I love comics. I mean, it's free. It'll be free. It's not, you don't have to pay for it.
Okay. I didn't know that it was
something free. I've been hoping for since I started playing Destiny. Is external, lore, whatever they want to do, books like they did for Halo, or comics like they're doing in there.
Right.
This is cool. I want to know more about the world of Destiny, because it's an interesting place.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I was hoping for shorts, but comics are super good, and it's free. It's not going to be on the website, so
I can't wait for. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of content creator out there that will make some sort of animatic, use the comics.
Five.
Yeah, Fife maybe, but use the comics and then make some sort of animatic, and then we can, yeah.
It's gonna be
I'm into having Bife read me the comic.
I would love for that. I was gonna say it's gonna be fun to hear him
I'll listen to that.
Talk about it.
Sure, 100%.
Remember,
slower, Bife, slower.
Real. Much slower. Do you remember the Halo series, the books?
Yeah.
I think a book series on Destiny would be phenomenal.
I'd read the shit out of that.
Yeah, me too.
I would love it if it was written by Statham.
Jason Statham?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
That was one of my favorite Halo books, man. The one he wrote. So, all right.
Jason Statham. Staten?
Staten.
There we go.
Did you said
we know what you
said
meant,
Statham.
I didn't say Statham.
I thought Holtz said Statham.
I'm going to start looking
up.
Yeah,
Holtz said Statham.
Bookworks. I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I heard Statham. Well, I heard Statham from whatever. Yeah, I hope that maybe we can. Speaking of story, something that happened with this update. I'm sure everyone's already heard about it by now, but we got to see Saint 14. There's that been a while, like last week, where people were kind of glitching into this area where we were like, yo, is this Saint 14? And story-wise, I don't know what to feel here.
I thought it was amazing, actually.
I mean, I had
spoilers if you haven't played it yet, right?
Yeah, spoilers if you haven't played it yet. I'll give you 10 seconds.
Skip the last 5 minutes, the 5 minutes before this.
Yeah, sorry.
But supposedly also, I think it takes 5 verses to unlock, and then you get the unknown verse.
Oh, was it 5?
Yeah, so if you didn't do all of last week's verses, I don't think you can get it this week without it, because I think it takes a weekly refresh. But you go on the quest to find Saint 14, and you get a 6 shotgun for it. But at the end, it shows that the Vex memorialized Saint 14.
Did they memorialize him, or I don't know.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
It took the Vex centuries to kill Saint 14, and what they had to do, this is in the lore, you read the shotgun, they had to create a device or a mind that would focus in on the frequency of his light and slowly drain it over a couple centuries until he was dead. And the Vex felt compelled to pay respects for such a foe and gave him a tomb.
That's dope.
I know,
That's
right?
really cool.
It gave me chills when I played it.
What a badass, right?
Seriously, I was like, wow, that is badass.
And when you walk into the arena, it's just a mountain of dead Vex. And I don't know, the reason I'm not hyped on it is all of Destiny 1, we heard whispers and mentions of this just monumental character in the story and the lore. And then it feels like it was just let go of in almost a whisper.
With that mission?
At the end here. Yeah, well, I mean, if you didn't play Destiny 1, I don't feel like you would understand the relevance of this. It would be just
or if you
another
did play
side
Destiny
quest.
1 but didn't read the Grimoire.
Yeah, or you came from Destiny 1 and didn't read the Grimoire, and you just knew Saint 14 had a helmet. Oh, okay. So this is Saint 14? Okay. So,
I feel like
his place in the story isn't deserving of an adventure. It's deserving of an expansion, of an entire game. And yeah,
but didn't we get hints of hints of Osiris in previous, Destiny releases?
I mean, we did, but this is about Saint 14.
No, I know, but isn't there, this is preempt, they're introducing him
maybe
for future expansion.
There's also this thing where, I mean, it took place in a future simulation or something like that, so this may not have actually happened.
So he's alive in a different time?
So let's just talk about that real quick.
Let's
talk about that real quick. So they said it's a simulation that can simulate time and space, okay?
Yes.
And you can die in there. They said that. So Osiris chose to go in there, and then Saint 14 decided to follow because he was worried about his buddy Osiris. And he was looking after him. So Saint 14 chose to go in there and got lost in the simulation. He wasn't simulated in the simulation. He went into the simulation.
So he's dead.
He's the dead.
He's dead. I don't think there's going to be a Saint 15.
Nice. That's good. That's really good.
What if there's an expansion where we have to become Saint 15 like an Iron Lord?
You say that.
There you go.
You say that, and that's basically what it implies in the story. Actually,
we're all Iron Lords.
We are all Iron Lords and Saints.
No, that's basically what it implies is that we met.
Somebody tossed out in that.
We basically met Saint 14. He's talking to. He's basically talking like someone gave him the shotgun, and now I'm giving it back to you, and you're getting the shotgun.
So we're Saint 15.
So you wear Saint 15 now.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, I have his helmet on my Titan, so
that's true. Yeah. You can wear the helmet and the shotty.
There you go.
It's just the Dread Pirate Roberts title. It's just whoever has the shotgun is Saint 14.
Talk about the shotgun, Tefty.
It's amazing. I didn't think I was gonna like it as much. It's like Dry Rot meets Hawthorne's Field Forward Shoddy. It's got 7 in the magazine. It's got Rampage also, and it sounds amazing. So I was initially thinking
the grouping on this is tight.
Yes. Yeah. It's actually got a shot package variable in there in the first barrel perk. So it does less precision damage on that, but it groups it up like shot package, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to be excited over a shotgun, honestly, because, power weapons in Destiny right now historically kind of been like, it's power weapons, you know. And it's really cool. Sounds amazing. It's also the first time I've seen a gun and been like, I just want the gun to look like that and don't need to shade it. It looks great, pre-shaded, essentially. Yeah,
I like the idea of the Vex, of an enemy paying like an enemy of the Vex that we've been through the story been taught to be cold and heartless and relentless and never ending but
somehow religious.
Yeah, it gave me chills. I was like, wow, this took centuries to kill him.
The concept of like that there is still an organic piece alive of them. The Vex milk is the last vestiges of their previous organic forms. It just got me thinking of like how much of a badass Saint 14 must have been to have the Vex actually be like, yo, you know, we're the adversary. Just
why do you think that Bungie like saved their best storytelling for outside the main quests, the main campaigns, like, because that's so cool, and then the Osiris campaign was so not. So like, why do they do that? You know what
I think current Bungie just doesn't really know how to tell amazing stories. Honestly, like I think like we saw it with D1. Taken King was better for sure, and Rise of Iron was pretty good. It's kind of short, but I think with the system that they've built, they know how to make amazing worlds and lore and the idea of an amazing story, but they don't really know how to tell it. Feels like. I feel
like a lot of AAA games developers do that though. Like they're unwilling to really put their best story stuff front and center. You know, it's almost like they feel like story is in the way. And I wonder if there is this known just rule in AAA games development where they're like, well, look, we focus tested the shit out of this, and the really hardcore guys might love story, but the casual player just wants to be able to fire a gun. So we move the story to other places and we just focus on the action, because it's such a consistent theme across AAA games that I really wonder whether or not there is like this unspoken or known rule in the development world that's just how you do it. You know, I don't know. I've just been so interested in that because that's so cool what you've just described. I was like, that's fucking awesome, in fact. And then I was reflecting on the Curse of Osiris campaign. I'm like, what?
I really feel like the story of Osiris, as far as the Grimoire and the lore of that character, I really wish we would have engaged with him more in the story itself.
I feel like Osiris, he's too big of a character to put in a $20 DLC. His story is so expansive. It's so, unless they were just focused on the story and like there was nothing else and it was a super long story, then awesome. But he's such a big character. He has such a long history. I think he needs like a Taken King thing just about.
I think Bungie needs to focus more when they're doing these DLCs. I'm serious. When they make these DLCs, like there's always two or three Crucible maps. There's always like a new raid lair. There's a new infinite forest. There's this, there's that, there's all new weapons. What if when they did a DLC, they just like focused on one thing and really honed in on it? So if they, if you wanted a story, you'd really get like a 10-hour story that was really in depth, but you wouldn't get Infinite Force, you wouldn't get more Crucible maps, you wouldn't get a raid lair.
I was actually thinking about that, and not just like the story in general. Like they have a very set path of how the story goes, right? It's like, here's this unkillable crazy thing that's going to destroy the world. We gotta go kill it, and it's like that every single time. And I don't think we needed to do that for Osiris at all. I felt like we could have even used the whole time thing to go back in time with him
and see what he's been doing. He could have taught us a lot about the Vex.
Besides Panoptes. Be like, yeah, he's bad. We gotta go kill him.
Imagine Osiris teaching us about the timelines and
then he can teach warlocks how to double jump.
He could be like, look, guys, it's this easy. You just have to press the button and press it again.
What?
I don't think I need him teaching us teaching warlocks how to make doubles of themselves.
No.
Yeah, I want to do that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, and as a perk for completing the storyline and your Dawnblade, you can
actually be useful.
Multiple versions of you, and then also shooting.
Oh,
that'd be dope.
Sounds pretty cool.
Anyway, yeah. So the this week at Bungie, What else do we got?
So Dawning is coming, and we already touched on the looks like a lot of the Dawning stuff's gonna be in the Eververse, but don't you worry, you can. Yeah.
I don't think that's anybody who's been around for Destiny 1.
Very concerning.
Very, very, very concerning.
The drop rate is concerning to me. So you will get 1 Dawning engram per week.
So what it said?
Yep.
Is it per character or per account?
Nope.
It's. I think I would assume per character. I would assume per character. I mean,
yeah.
It would feel really scummy if you could only get 3 engrams over the entire 3 weeks.
That would be awful.
I also assumed heroic strikes would be available for all players.
Yeah,
and then
true.
So engage in Crucible Mayhem, which is cool, man. Like,
Mayhem's
let's not
bring Mayhem back.
That's good.
They're bringing they're bringing back exotics. They're bringing back Mayhem. Oh my god.
Okay, I'm okay with them bringing back Mayhem because. So when we're doing this grind for all these forge weapons, I completely understand that doing Crucible for those whatever things that you need to get is faster than running strikes. But I cannot sit through multiple games of Crucible anymore. Like just doing the milestone it's like pulling teeth with me just because the gameplay feels so slow.
Am I the only person who likes Crucible? I love the fucking
I played Crucible the other day and I had a good time. Like hand cannons were I did it on console and PC, and on console the hand cannons are feeling much better. I got the new Trials Pulse from an engram, a clan engram, and it's actually really good. I like it. I can use
I go into the Crucible. Again. I don't know if it's because I'm still really learning mouse and keyboard, and I see like constant improvement in my skills like day to day. It may very well be that.
Oh, there's a lot.
But I go into the Crucible, and I am having a blast. Like I'm having a good time.
I wouldn't say I'm having a blast. I'm like in between Briar and Patrick. I'm like I can play this for the milestone, maybe a little bit after, especially when people are popping gifts and showering me with things. But then I can't play it for as long as D1. I can't play it for as long as I did.
I can't go do an entire stream of me playing just PvP and chatting. It
unless it's trials, then
the only thing
I can play with
keeping me from playing Crucible for any length of time, Briar, is that I really only enjoy playing Control.
Yes, if I could play Control the entire time, I think I'd actually play Control for hours.
It's frustrating for me to get into another play and into another. I don't know. I should diversify my portfolio, but I don't want the game to tell me I need to diversify my portfolio.
I never have done that in another game though. Like when I played Call of Duty, I played. I would play Domination for hours on end.
Yeah.
And then, maybe the next day I would play Free for All for hours on end. I didn't play like some random playlist over and over again. It's weird.
Yeah. It is weird.
It is very weird. And it's something that I'm hoping that we get. Like, that's what I was exciting about Mayhem, is that I'm hoping that it's not
just play Mayhem.
It's not going to go away. I'm hoping that they just start adding.
Mm-hmm.
And that
I feel like Mayhem would be temporary. Don't you guys think they're going to?
It is going to be temporary, but I'm hoping that it's not.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope
I'm hoping it stays.
Did they say it's going away?
It's for the Dawning.
It's a Dawning event.
3 weeks.
But it might stay after.
Yeah, well, we're hoping. We're hoping that they're listening right now and they decide to keep it.
Did you guys see that in the files they found Mayhem, Rumble, and Elimination?
Yes.
Because so when I first heard that, I was like, okay. But then when they actually announced Mayhem, I was like, oh, maybe we will get Rumble and Elimination.
Just saving them.
So I'd be pretty happy.
It got me very excited, Watts.
Yeah.
Because I had heard that same rumor. I was like, yeah, whatever. We'll see what happens. They always find all sorts of stuff in there. And then they announced Mayhem. I'm like, does that mean Rumble's coming back, yo?
Yeah, right?
Did you guys know if you look in the CVAR file on PC, it still says primary, special, and heavy? It does.
Specials are coming back, confirmed.
Yeah, there you go.
Slots.
So here's the thing that's challenging to me, and I'm going to read this piece. But engage in Crucible Mayhem or become legend in Strikes, and you'll be rewarded. Every week, complete a milestone for a Dawning engram.
So isn't that engram per milestone then?
Yeah, so it would be per character.
Yeah, it would be per character. Milestones are character based.
So you'd have a donning milestone and you get it per character. Okay.
Are we going to get an illuminated engram and a donning engram then for XP gains?
Maybe.
I wonder.
That's cool. I mean, I hope it doesn't replace it.
Yeah, I don't want it to replace it.
So here's
XP? Did they say that?
I don't think we know yet.
Here's the rub. Get in the giving mood with new consumables that give rewards to everyone you're playing with. Cool. If there's
get in the giving mood, Bungie.
If there's a specific donning item that you have your heart set on, Tess will refresh your inventory each week, enabling you to use your Bright Dust reserves for your holiday shopping. On 1 week or another during the 3-week event. So at some point, everything in her inventory is going to be available to purchase.
It also sounds like exotic emotes are going to be in there too. You guys see that? Like donning exotic emotes?
Mm-hmm.
Is there going to be specific ones for the donning?
I believe
I'm
so.
assuming.
Yeah. I believe
like
so.
A snowball or something?
I don't care. I don't. If it's tied to microtransactions, fuck it. I don't care. I'm not.
Well, this is the thing. I haven't purchased a single bit of silver and since all of this has happened. Like in D1, I was like, Ghost, I want it. I'll pay for it. But this, I'm like, I don't want to do that.
I feel really dirty because I have like 5,000 from my birthday stream still on console. So it's just sitting there. I'm like,
so buy a bunch of stuff and then give it as gifts.
Wait, is that how it works?
I don't know.
I think the gift system is like it's like a quest.
It's just for vendors. It's for vendors. Yeah, it's not giving to other players.
Yeah,
that's too bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
because that'd be really cool if you could give stuff.
I actually thought it was something to do with players too. Like you get the quest to do a gift.
There are consumables there are Eververse consumables that you can use that are like the Crucible and Vanguard ones, but they're Crucible and Vanguard Eververse. So you get Eververse stuff at the end of that activity.
I've only gotten shaders from that.
I've only gotten shaders. They are expensive.
Somebody said they got an exotic ghost randomly in the Crucible.
I've heard, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
No, I was going to say, because I read a really interesting post on a Reddit forum one time. They were like, why would I buy any cosmetics or any of this emotes or that sort of stuff if I'm just going to lose them with Destiny 3? And I didn't really think about that before because I was like, wait a second, that makes a lot of sense because I think with Destiny 1, we sort of assumed a lot of that stuff would be sticking around.
Yeah.
And then I think that, a lot of people now kind of hold back from spending on this sort of stuff because they're like, well, in 2 years, I'm probably just going to lose it all anyway. So I don't know. That comment really struck me. And I was like, oh, yeah. And it was kind of that games as a service thing where if you want to have a game as a service that continues to live, it's kind of like, it's hard when you leave it all behind.
Can't hit that reset button.
Yeah.
During the life cycle of Destiny 1, I had no doubt in my mind, way before Destiny 2 was ever announced, that they would make a Destiny 2, just because there were so many things that, were clearly tried and failed, and they just had to leave some systems behind. It just made sense to me. Plus, they wanted to leave those scores behind and just make a clean break from Destiny 1 and make a Destiny 2. I'm not so sure I feel the same way about a Destiny 3. Like, could they continue just building on Destiny 2? Do they need a Destiny 3 like they did?
100%.
Absolutely could.
100%.
Absolutely could. I think that this year has been so fascinating if you look at like the evolution of the games as a service model and how certain games have really come into their own this year. Like if you look at, Warframe has really blossomed this year and it's on the map now, and they've stuck with that game for years because it was terrible at launch. If you look at Path of Exile, same sort of deal, right? That game, people love that game now after they've invested so much into it. If you look at Siege, 100,000 concurrent players on their biggest day recently, which is a new record. If you look at the Division, for Rainbow Six Siege, it's the biggest it's ever been, huge. 3 years after its release. And if you look at the Division, now the Division was a complete train wreck of a game. I make no excuses whatsoever for what an absolute disaster it was. But rather than walk away from that, the developers really just stuck with it. And they offered a free update recently. And the game is in the best place it's ever been. Like
Ubisoft games in that list.
From. Say again, sorry?
I said, you're not the first person I've heard that from.
Yeah.
There is a lot of really positive things coming out of that.
Definitely. And I think that, when it comes to Destiny 2, like I would love to see them use it as a platform for the next 6 years and just keep building on it and building on it. You don't need a big marketing push with a 3 next to it to drive revenue. It's like if you keep building on this game and creating stuff that people love, they'll keep playing it, and the communities will keep growing. That's if in 2017 has proven anything, I think it's proven that. So I would love for Bungie to go down that path, because that'd be a great direction.
I think collectively I can agree that we haven't seen the best from the studio, because I believe that we can still, that they can reinvent themselves just like the Division did, and come out on top of this. And
what's scary about that statement, Pope, is that they reinvented themselves twice between their last Halo game and this game, right? Is they did it right before Destiny 1 came out, and they did it again before Destiny 2 came out. And I keep having to do that.
Right. And I guess this is part of me part of me being, I'm an educator. I work with kids all the time, and I understand that part of they were trying something new. They went from a first-person shooter to a wholly different genre. And in that process, they're going to make some mistakes and grow and learn as a company. And, I think that I can see where people, and just like you guys are talking about, what Skill Up is talking about, like, hey, I'm done, and I'm going to step away. I'm not at that point, and that's okay. That's okay that others are at that point. I'm just not at that point myself. And I think that this goes back to what we keep echoing in the community, that we all need to respect where we are at different places in the game and continue this dialogue in a really healthy manner, because that's what's benefiting in the long run.
It's the dialogue, because the dominant theme between all those examples that Skillup gave is that community feedback helps shape the future of the game.
That's right.
And makes it a better game. And I think, the thing of saying like, oh, it should have been in the game at launch, we're well past that at this point. It's 3 months later, hammering on that and saying, these Masterworks are great, but should have been at launch, or any kind of like statement like that. It was just beating the horse, and it's already been beaten in the ground. We need to move beyond that. If people want to give actual feedback, it's now what can make this game better where it is right now. And it'd be nice if Bungie could actually just make a perfect D2 at launch, and we roll back time with the Vex, jump on the space station, whatever the thing, and suddenly it's a perfect D2. But the fact is, they have to have our feedback, and they made some huge mistakes, and they've heard it, and now they're starting to make those changes. And like that's a dialogue that is painful, but has to be interacted with, and we're a part of that conversation now.
Yeah, and I feel like we're there's what's sad, and I think that what makes this more different and more emphatic is that I feel it. Like I'm probably one of the last people that will give up on Bungie as a company, and that's maybe because of my 10 years of playing their games, and I don't know why. I'm just like the eternal optimist with this, but I think I'm seeing myself get really close to that point where I'm just like, and if that's got to rattle their cages a little bit, when their core fan base that is just super passionate about the game is kind of going, all right, guys, it's time to. It was
a gamble, though. I mean, I feel like they knew this going in. They must have. They made the gamble. They made the decisions, right? They decided to cater to a more casual crowd.
That's right.
Yeah, they did make that decision.
They must have known what that meant. I mean,
it was a mistake. Just
you guys want to do Twitter questions? I feel like it's time for Twitter questions.
Let me check.
Did we cover everything?
The list.
Oh, he's got a list.
We did not go over snowball fights.
Ooh, snowball fights.
You can throw them at combatants and stun them.
Yeah, they're not only going to be a tower, but yes. This feels a lot like World of Warcraft. If you guys ever played Alterac Valley, and you either piles of snowballs everywhere, and yes, I love it when we have guests to know what I'm talking about here.
Best times ever. It was amazing.
Yeah. Alterac Valley, you get yourself a bunch of snowballs, and you can halt an entire team trying to go across the bridge.
It was amazing.
To Lion side, or you can just like launch them off the side of mountains because they have knockback. It's great. Knockback. We don't. Yeah, we don't.
I'd like to raise your hand if you're reading chat right now.
Even I was. And me about to get the same.
I'm so sorry, Patrick. I tried not to raise my hand, but I was reading chat.
This is normally the part where I would try to do some sort of amusing anecdotal segue.
Is that the opening note?
Time for Twitter questions.
Should we harmonize?
Yeah. Wait, we can.
You got it off the top of the dome, Patrick.
We need.
I want to freestyle about an ad read for Scuff. That's what I want right now.
Check out these wild controllers with thumbsticks. It's just some of the iconic gear that Scuff creates. Scuff's award-winning products are the driving force behind professional gamers, internet streamers, and countless elite gaming teams and Twitch streamers. Their Scuff Impact controller is the PlayStation 4's most popular control. I feel like I'm gonna get sued for this.
Oh, you might, yeah.
Holy shit, Patrick! That was so awesome.
Okay.
Oh my gosh!
1 sec.
X-Pac
my PlayStation
says,
on accidentally. Sorry, guys. 1 sec.
No
Allow me to fix this.
What did you do?
I cannot hear you right now.
Oh, he turned on his PlayStation.
All right, let's all talk about
Quick,
Skillup
talk
behind
about
his
it.
back.
His accent is just
Did
makes me
secretly
listen.
create Tess Eververse to create controversy?
it was
Is
all
he
a
actually the
plan.
mastermind behind Tess?
He totally
It
did.
was
He
just-
totally did.
Let's just kick him off the podcast and then say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Skype just connected. Australia connection."
It's that FCC.
Those crazy
and-
Australian
sorry.
animals, they got into the network. And
As the fourth Australian
bears.
I've ever met or known about, the three other ones being the Jez, Steve Irwin, and Crocodile Dundee. Pretty impressed with Skillup right now.
He's probably the best out of those, yeah, for sure.
Steve Irwin's pretty cool. I don't know.
That's true.
He's an absolute.
Did get stabbed by a stingray though. It was kind of asking for
You
it.
guys can hear me. I'm still trying to fix this.
I pretty
Wow,
much
you actually
think that
can't
if
hear us.
Skillup can, I bet you he could stare down a water buffalo.
They
Did
don't
he
have
do like the Crocodile Dundee thing to it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could just go like,
Interesting. I would like to see this tested. Maybe we can get
I haven't seen Crocodile Dundee in a long time, and now I'm curious about. I want to see that move.
yeah, he goes up to the I don't know what it is. Is it a
I want
water?
to see if we can get optimum
wanna
DPS on the water buffalo.
Yeah,
I
and he
want to
just
get
goes-
Skillup to say like that's not a knife.
Can you guys hear me again?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
I
I
can.
can hear
No,
you.
Okay, great.
No, not at all.
Sorry.
We totally weren't talking about you.
We were
Let's do
not.
some Twitter questions.
Yeah, so don't bother going back and listening to this segment.
Mhm.
of
Okay,
the
great.
podcast,
Thanks very
okay?
much. Appreciate that.
right.
Thank you.
XPEC says, for Skillup,
Yeah.
in your recent video, you mentioned you were done with Destiny 2. What changes would it take for you to come back?
I feel that, first of all, we talked about a lot of that stuff already, so I wouldn't want to rehash it. But I also think that I'm really against like wish listing, if that makes sense, because I feel that it's important for us to say what we don't like. I think it's important for us to provide a few suggestions on some of the things we might like, but the world of development is so complex that we could never presume to fully understand everything that goes into the cake that they're baking at any point in time. So I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, this, and then I'll consider coming back. Like, it's not like that. It's kind of just, I wish the game the best. I definitely would love to return to it one day if it just reaches that critical mass where it's made all the right decisions. But there's a lot of decisions that need to be made in a lot of different fronts before I would be interested in doing that, So it's not really a checklist kind of thing, if that makes sense.
It's confirmed Ubisoft is paying him to
Ubisoft is
talk
paying me,
crap
exactly
Warframe,
right.
Warframe devs, totally
Warframe
paying.
and Ubisoft.
Them too.
Yeah, they're all
and EA,
paying
let's
him.
just throw them in
EA
there.
is all all paying Skillup to talk shit about Bungie.
100%.
EA pays people to talk shit about them just so they can stay in the news.
Yeah, that's it. There's no such thing as bad press in the world of
Yeah.
EA. Man.
That's true.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Tech Junkie says, with the current state of Destiny 2, have any of you jumped back into the Division and given 1.8 a tree? So I know that Skillup's got a review coming. Is it this weekend?
I hope to be, except I was thinking I would just review patch 1.8, but I'm actually thinking about reviewing the entire Division right now.
Which means I'm going to have to wait longer to find out all about 1.8.
I think it actually might be next weekend now, because it's just going to take me, instead of taking me like 15 hours, it's going to take me like 50 hours. So that's something I'm working on. But it's such a great update. And if you guys haven't checked it out, it's 100% free. If you own the base game, you now have the new update. It comes with heaps of shit. The game's never been in a better place. Like, it's done a really good job of creating a really interesting player power fantasy, incredible complexity in terms of its build diversity. PvP, different options to PvP now. It's not all just the Dark Zone. It's just, there's a lot. I don't want to like spruik it too much here because they're like, shut up, we hate Division. I get it. The Division's made all the mistakes along the way, and you're certainly within your rights to swear off that product and never want to look at it again. But if you're interested in it, I tell you what, it's done a good job, this update.
It came out during the same day as Curse of Osiris, but I did I did actually download the update at the time and jumped in a little bit to check it out. And yeah, they've taken basically the things that are good about the Division and made it even better with the update and added some new cool stuff. They've got a horde mode in there that's kind of like Call of Duty Zombies, but in the Division's setting, and you earn loot from it for doing really good.
That's cool.
It's very, very good. They've added a new sort of 4v4 PvP area as well. They've changed the Dark Zone, so it's a lot less trolly now. It used to all be about just people like, gangbang you all of a sudden. That doesn't happen now because they need to like.
That's why I went in there.
Well, a lot of people absolutely, but you can still do that. It's a little bit harder for you to troll people now. It's kind of like you have to declare your intention and say, "I'm going to shoot you," as opposed to just randomly blowing someone up because you felt like it. So they got a lot of stuff right, and I think they've done a really good job this time. Really good job.
Yeah.
Well, I did have a question for you. I knew you were going to have a great person to direct this. So I played the game at the beginning and I left. So I have a character that started, and I forget how I played it for like a month and then done. How do I jump back into it? What do I do first?
Look, here's the best thing about it. It's like you can literally do whatever you want at this point, and it works. There are so many different activities. If you want to just do your daily missions, just do those. If you want to grind hardcore on missions, do that. If you want to do the survival, like battle royale survival mode, you can do that. If you want
a lot of fun.
There's literally, and everything that you do, by the way, gives you loot at the end of it. Like it's not like there are certain things that are more time efficient than others, but every single thing you do rewards you and progresses your character. So it's the ultimate like menu of whatever you like. So it's really good.
I'm looking forward to your review.
Yeah. Hopefully this weekend, but probably next weekend, I'd say.
Okay.
So on that topic, the more I see different games and companies like come out with a big patch that kind of revitalizes everything. Division did it. I know Warframe did it. There's tons of other examples out there. It feels like what Destiny needs isn't, a patch that comes alongside a DLC. It needs that patch that's free, that's big, that fixes.
Yes, 100%.
That just does all this stuff.
Make the Taken King patch that we all expect free. You know what I mean? Like, do it. I mean, like, I don't know how they'll do it. I don't know. I know it's a big studio with lots of people, but man, could you imagine what that would be for the game if you could do that? Like, you want to complain about value skill up? Well, take this, you asshole. Here's an amazing patch that's all free for players. Like, that'd just be so awesome.
I'd love to see them, and this might piss some people off, but I'd love to see them, do some changes to Eververse in the end game and make some clear steps, and then, before the next DLC, and then just go, bam, everybody can download Curse of Osiris and this new update, and it's all free.
Yeah.
At this point. And then that would incentivize people to come back and play, and then consider purchasing the next one if they want.
I just think it's so important as well, because like CD Projekt Red, right? They could sell me an empty, like a blank box, and I don't even know what's in it, and I would buy it because I trust them so much. I'll pre-order that box. I'll pre-order the gold edition of that box. You know what I mean?
It's like so toxic.
But it's like, they have such a strong commitment to quality, like Naughty Dog, that commitment to quality. It's there, what you're going to get, and they don't compromise on it. It makes you a customer for life. It really does, and if developers can tap into that and try and create that you can take that to the bank. You really can take that to the bank. It's so powerful. So
what you're saying is, if the loot box always gave you an awesome item, then you would have no problem with loot boxes.
CD Projekt Red loot boxes, baby. Give them to me. They're always going to contain good shit,
Yeah, just always.
Yeah.
They're going to contain money. They just give you money back.
Just give you money back. I'll give you the best game you've ever played plus $20 back. You know what
yes. I mean? Thank you for being a customer.
That's basically Magic the Gathering for me, because then sometimes I open a pack, I get like a foil mana drain. I'm like, this is $150.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, no idea what that meant.
Ed Burton says, can the major voices in Destiny community find a way to be pleasant again for the sake of the silent majority that still plays Destiny 2 a ton? So many of us love Destiny 2, but many content creators are so negative right now. It makes me sad. Is there a way to look on the bright side again?
Do you think like heaps of content creators are negative, by the way?
I don't think the majority are.
Yeah, I do not think a majority of them are. No way. No way.
The big thing to try to take away is that listen to what they're saying and how they're saying it. If it is filled with nothing but anger, hate, and just a complete callous disregard for like people working at the studio or the health of the game, then that's someone just being negative, being an asshole. But if whatever you're listening to is filled with suggestions, filled with observations about how something works, and it's all for the goal of wanting change, wanting the game to be better, you take that as the constructive criticism that it hopefully is.
Right.
And that serves a very crucial part of the game community as well. So I get it. It gets really tiring to hear us, week in, week out talk about, how we're not, how there's a lot of stuff that we're not enjoying about the game. But if you keep doing it, we're hoping to see changes. And we've already seen a few things happen, just in like the past 2 weeks. So
and that's why it's important to when Bungie does something good, you say, "Hey Bungie, I like that." Yeah. Now like here's this other stuff that Raid Lair was amazing. I think the changes that they're making to a few things, the things that they're bringing into the game, are steps where I'm like, okay, Bungie, I like that. But that doesn't mean that everything's completely fine and dandy. But I think just in life in general, when something is good, say that's good. When it's not good, you say that's not good. Just having a good balance is.
Yeah, this concept of all or nothing approach to where people are right now is a little. Yeah. You see it in politics too, at least in the United States right now. But it's definitely represented in the community. I posted up about a Twitter post about how I thought that the Dawning armor, which we didn't talk about, is freaking gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
It is. I'm excited about it. It is awesome. And then I posted, "Hey man, that armor," and then somebody replied back like, "But the end game." All right, I get it. I am also upset about the end game.
Has been obliterated.
But this thing, I like it. It's pretty. Yes, I'm still upset, but this is pretty.
It's amazing. I think that's what's difficult right now, is that people who don't want to see any of the criticism that's happening are getting it the worst. Because if you look at anything, there's going to be a horde of people, especially on YouTube, that'll be like, dead game, garbage, hot trash, blah, blah, blah. They literally couldn't do anything right with the game. It's a completely broken, busted piece of garbage. It's like, we definitely played two different video games, because I enjoy playing Destiny 2. I still enjoy playing Destiny 2. And I haven't had a lot of moments where like I'm just straight up annoyed or done with the game. Yeah, there's problems with it. The end game has, it needs fixes, obviously, but it's not something that warrants a scam level problem on a game. It's like, it's crazy. So some of the conclusions that get jumped on is it feels very juvenile. And so when I see those, I'm like, okay, well, you're either a kid or don't know how to control your emotions, because we're not playing the same game. We're not having the same experience.
I mean, that on the word scam though, like I did use that word in my review, So, and I guess the reason that I felt that way was because of the volume of reintroduced content and the way that it's being sold to us, So I hear what you're saying completely. But I do feel as though there are some strong words that need to be employed within the context of where we're at now. You know what I mean? Like there are cause for some strong words. They need to be delivered in the right way, and I've certainly not delivered them in the right way in the past. But on that that issue. I feel like the fundamental question of value is one that's a very emotional question for people. You know, like it evokes a lot of emotion. So yeah, that's where I came from with that.
I think you've done a good job tonight of being of expressing yourself really well.
We still got like 15 minutes left to go on the
man.
podcast. You can fuck that all up.
Totally.
I screwed it up.
Give me a chance.
Really, it's the last few Twitter questions are really the fucking killers.
Yep.
All right.
D Flawless says, what changes need to be made to Masterworks and mods to flesh out the system, and when do we need to see them by?
Answer is as soon as possible to whatever suggestions we're about to give.
Right.
I would like to see it expanded to further allow customization within a player's like specs or how they want to play, or build is a better word. Because right now it's so focused on like multi kills, and getting orbs. Well, what if I run a spec where I'm not really caring about my super that much, but the neutral game of my melee ability or my grenade can provide.
So you're a Night Stalker.
Yeah, exactly. We'll go with that. Well, like having that option available, maybe after multi-kills, it'll give me more melee energy or more grenade energy or more ability energy, allowing players to have that choice of where like something like that could also create, a little bit higher power level builds for some players if they're willing to actually do that.
Putty Mom. Putty Mom says, with net neutrality repealed, how could this affect streamers and YouTubers? Are you worried?
It still has to. I'm not the best person to ask about political science here, but I know it's not like officially done. Yeah, it's not officially done. It still has to actually go through. Is it Congress or?
I think it actually is done. It's going to get caught up in the courts and in state legislatures for the next little while. That's my understanding. So, I mean, as an Australian, it has less of an impact on me because, I think it's still, it does have an impact. Yeah. It does have an impact. Don't get me wrong. It's just less so because it's not like my internet provider is going to start selling me special access packs to get better bandwidth connection or better connection to Activision servers or whatever. That could happen.
What percent of your viewer base is from the U.S.?
65%. So
that's a pretty big reason.
Well, I mean, they're still going to keep watching, YouTube. That those sorts of things I think are going to be unaffected. But like the really big stuff. But I reckon it's sort of the smaller, more distributed stuff. Other smaller streaming services, other platforms that you utilize that can't necessarily afford to pay the stuff that Amazon and Google can pay, you know what I mean? Like, or end users, end consumers who are forced to pay for a different type of internet package because they want the best possible connection to their chosen content. That I think is where the impact will be felt a lot more, as I understand it, as an Australian who's been watching it from afar.
I'm not worried about this so much as for streaming and for YouTube. I'm more scared about this in the aspect of like freedom of information and the fact that a company that owns the internet pipe that I access news from can also control which news I get to see. Mm-hmm. That's fucking terrifying to me.
That's the scariest.
Can they though? Is that a thing? Is that actually a thing?
Yeah,
sure.
Is it like
all they gotta do is say, okay, we own, let's say, this newspaper and this TV station and this TV station, and you can access all that for free with your basic internet subscription. But if you want to access the other stuff, then you got to pay $30 more a month.
Right.
And boom. How many of their customers are just going to access the
on top of that, though? On top of that, if they're in, if they're in agreement with another politician and that politician is being spoken poorly on these other sites, then there is not going to be anything in there that can stop them from saying all traffic from these sites are brought to a crawl, essentially, so you can barely look at the page.
Yeah. Right.
So that's like the scariest of it all.
Mm-hmm. The scary thing is turning into like a mini China, right? Where it's like, this I don't really like what these guys are saying. No access.
I mean, just look at like Comcast and. Don't they own MSNBC or MSNBC owns Comcast? One of the two. I see the damn logo on the backs of their trucks. Either way, you know they're going to prioritize traffic over to their news sources over like others.
Yeah, there used to be laws that there used to be laws in America that you couldn't have like the same business own 2 newspapers in the same town.
Yeah, that's right.
You couldn't have 2 radio stations in the same county, like stuff like that. And it's slowly been getting dismantled over the last 10 years, 15 years, to the point where it's really becoming an issue. It's becoming a real concern. You know, who is going to provide us our news? Is it just one person? Is it one
Fox
entity?
News. It's just all going to be Fox News in the future, man. That's the
one. Now it's owned by Disney, right?
I know, right?
Disney.
No, actually, no.
That was Mickey Mouse up on there shilling for Trump. It's going to be fucking it's the future.
Oh, shit.
I think
back at Daisy Duck's ass.
I think what's just the scariest thing, so not so much affecting people that live in cities necessarily, but in America, there are a lot of places where they only have the choice of one internet company.
Yeah.
And that company can be like, let's hitch the prices up. What are you going to do? You can't do this whole capitalism thing where the market is going to decide who's the best company if they only have one company. And I think that's what is also...
Yeah, and that's I was going to expand on that point, Watts. That's a very good point, because the infrastructure of the United States is built around the concept of the internet being a utility, and that these companies were subsidized by the U.S. government to lay fiber optic wires that connect the internet. It was a government It was a government project originally. And so a lot of these companies were built, the whole fiber optic backbone of the United States and the internet in general, since a lot of it is run through U.S. servers around the world, is built on government subsidized infrastructure. And so they're now capitalizing on top of what was intended to be just for government use and then grew politically into being a utility. And I don't understand how a utility can then become privatized. It just doesn't seem like that should be. This is another aspect of it. I understand the monopoly issue that you guys are talking about, but it just feels like we're going backwards in how we approach. What is the basic utility? Water, trash, electricity, internet access for a lot of people. It is a fundamental part of what makes a part of our society, and to privatize it like that, I think is a step in the wrong direction.
Must be tough to be an American right now, because
it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good.
I read American politics religiously. I mean, I probably read about 3 to 4 hours of American politics per day, across different.
Great entertainment when you're not living it.
I mean, it would be because Australia's got like a very functional representative democracy.
I like that word,
and,
functional.
You know what I mean? It's people get along in terms of getting shit done, and it's you see stuff like this going down, which is so clearly not representative of what the people want, and it still happens, and it's kind of it's hard to watch that sort of stuff as an Australian viewing it from afar. I mean, it must be even tougher for Americans going like, well, this is how it is over here, so. I feel, I don't know. That's just how I feel about that.
Yeah, and good.
I was going to switch questions, so if you get something to add, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just comments in chat that are saying, then so do we want the government to run our internet? And that's not what I'm talking about. It's not about that. It's that there's certain fundamental things that should be part of what living in this country are about. And that politics, is part of the discussion, right? Some people believe it's healthcare. Other people say that it should not be. Some people believe, but you could all argue that there's certain utilities and services that every American should have access to, and it should be at a rate that is not a nonprofit rate. That's the goal of a utility, is to make it to be a non-profitable. It's a basic service. And so that's what the conversation is. I think that's the bigger conversation right now. Is the internet part of the basic service of a home going forward? And, I don't think that privatization of the internet is the right direction, because what it will do is it will make the haves and the have-nots, and that's the wrong direction. It hurts everybody. All these businesses, the whole economy. We are moving away from a supply side economy. We're not creating coal, and we're doing things over the internet. That's our economy. And so to create this infrastructure to support this growth of an economy, to provide a service across the world, and then to restrict it, you restrict growth in that basic fundamental economy within our system. And I'm sorry, I apologize for lecturing. My bad.
We're with you, man.
I feel like it's necessary.
If you want to try and stop this from actually going through, the best thing that you can do is contact your representative, your congressman. There's plenty of sites to do that. There's even numbers that you can text, that you don't have to call anyone. You don't need to do anything. So there's plenty of information out there on what you can actually do.
The best way to do it, though, is to either call or write a handwritten letter,
Yes.
or send a letter. McGee to B says, what is your favorite holiday tradition?
My family makes tamales.
I like getting shit housed. It's really fun. The whole family gets around, opens presents, and I just get rip-roaring drunk.
Festivus, yes.
Festivus, yeah.
We have, it's summer here in Sydney in our Christmas time. So we go to the beach on Christmas Day.
Oh, that's dope.
It's good. It's a nice way to spend it.
I usually shovel drunk.
Shovel snow, you mean?
Drunk. Yeah. That sounds like a good tradition right there.
Yeah.
Jeez. That makes
I
me
guess
sad.
you haven't really established one, right?
Yeah, I just moved away from my family in Nashville, so traditions used to be listening to I can continue listening to the Chieftains Christmas album. That's about it. It's an Irish band.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Mariah Carey Christmas album kind of man myself. So it's just horses for courses, it's personal taste.
I had a lot of respect for you, Skillup, and
it's
now,
gone now.
It's always the last 15 minutes.
Ruined.
Someone fucks it up.
Yeah.
Told you.
Thought it would happen.
Told you.
Can you do me a favor on the next video you do? Can you have the outro have her song
Absolutely. This one goes out to you, man.
This is out to you, Pope.
The jingle bells start ringing.
Yeah,
100%.
Last Buju says, you think Tesla's going to sell internet plans via Eververse Trading Company?
Maybe. You can buy a direct connection to Bungo servers, dedicated now because of all the tests.
Spend some dust for dedicated servers, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It's definitely not going to allow access to Kotaku, I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Blady McBlanderson says, you go into a public restroom to go number 2. There are 4 stalls. Now, hold on. Okay, this is going to take a bit. Everybody put your thinking caps on.
Multi-part tweets.
There are 4 stalls, and someone is in the second one.
I'm just going to draw a picture of this. Hold on.
Cell service is good enough to connect to the internet in the first stall, but not the third and fourth. Which stall do you choose? So there's somebody in the second stall. Cell service is good in the first stall, but not in the third or the fourth.
Oh, okay. You didn't need to sweeten that pot, Briar. I'm picking the stall next to the person every time, no matter what. Because I know I'm about to destroy that thing. And I want somebody to appreciate it.
Game of one-upsmanship over there.
I just want someone to be there to be in the next stall go, damn, just to really, maybe they don't say it out loud, but they think it,
You hear them speed up because also, they're in that second stall probably using internet as well. And now you're going to get them off the internet, which gives you more of a connection.
More bandwidth.
That's right.
That's right.
Because of the cell service?
I don't want to stay that. I don't want to whip out the phone and stay that long in a public bathroom. Though.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
I'd prefer to just go just go fast and get out. I'm not trying to take a little day trip to the bathroom with my phone.
Yeah.
I don't need to be there.
When I worked at Target, 15-minute breaks, at least that was spent in in the bathroom, and usually I wouldn't even do anything. I was just leaning up against the wall or something, just browsing Reddit.
And now I know why stuff took so long. When you ask for something from the back room at Target, and you're like,
"Oh, we laugh at you." But we usually go back there. He's like, "This guy wants something from the back room." Ah!
Is there no actual back room?
It depends. It depends on the Target. We had everything in an offsite location and a few very, very, very small amount of items in the back room. It would never be like, "Hey, do you have any more of these lawnmowers in the back room?" And it'd be like,
"Let me go check."
I would usually,
judging by the size of the store that looks like it's basically a warehouse full of stuff, there isn't another warehouse right next to it full of stuff.
Yeah, basically.
I'll be right back.
I would definitely go to the fourth stall. Internet is important to me, but even though I tend to be a fairly outgoing guy, my butthole is a little bit on the shy side. Doesn't really like to let loose in public. It gets a little tensed up. When it's out there in the open. So I want to, give it a little privacy, get to the far end of the bathroom and,
I got Angry Birds on my phone. I'm fine with either choice, really.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm not going to be doing any kind of research or like looking at Twitter that much. I'm in and out if it's public.
There's always time for research.
Not in a public. Hell no.
Do you understand how complex the legacy metagame is in Magic right now? There is no time. There are
Topher says...
I always change the question. Great.
What are your 3 biggest oh shit moments? Mine are big spiders, oversleeping for work, and hearing the rains of Casimir at a wedding.
Whoa, that's specific.
Sitting down. First one is being in the number 2 stall, and then someone coming into the first stall and just destroying it.
Losing your cell service at the same time.
Hope Bear sneakers walk by underneath the door.
I mean, the fact is, I have fun with it. Like, I get really emotional. I go.
How do we make this new question a continuation of the old question?
No, you don't think I do. You don't think I do, but I do.
Are you really gonna walk out then and do you wait for them to come out of the stall too, so you can look them in the eye?
You'll look at me.
I want to tell you, Tefty, they never.
Don't leave me hanging here, brother.
Super alpha.
They never have. They always scurry out. And sometimes I do a Austin Powers. Who does number 2 work for? That kind of stuff.
Remind me to never share a bathroom toilet bathroom. I don't know.
A public bathroom.
Remind me to be in the same bathroom as you at the same time.
Don't let them use the bathroom in your hotel room.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, we gotta ask that question. Oh shit moments?
Fire alarms going off for no reason in my apartment. And then the third oh shit moment, 45 minutes later when the fire alarm is still going on and fire engines haven't shown up.
Oh, I guess that's...
Both those feel like oh shit moments.
People sometimes just walk into my apartment because I always leave the door unlocked. That's kind of oh shit.
Thanks.
I think I should
so where do you live?
I think I should start locking the door. Because it's always been during the day there's been a mistake and everyone's like, oh shit, sorry. Because I'm in an apartment building and they all look the same and they kind of just think it's their apartment or whatever. But I do think one time that one dude was up to no good. That was my suspicion. So I should start locking my door.
Yes.
Mine typically happens when I feel like when I've left my cell phone somewhere. I that's an oh shit for me because I feel like a lot of my life and what I need to be productive at work or, be in contact with people. I feel like I'm maybe like a lot of people, I'm addicted to my cell phone or being connected. And when I look for it and I can't find it, it's like, there's a sense of panic. So I'd say cell phone.
Yeah.
I think generally just when you're traveling and you have to keep all your important documents on you and you're just so paranoid that you're constantly losing them. So you're always like, where is it? Oh God. Okay. No, it's fine. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's always scary because if you lose that, you're stuck and you're probably going to die. So it's not good.
What about when you upload a video to YouTube and you realize there's some massive factual error in it and you're like, oh no. That video
or even worse,
ruined.
if you have an embargo
you have
that's
a fucking
really
embargo.
specific.
The embargo thing as well.
And you're
Luckily,
just
it never
really
happened.
paranoid. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm always paranoid about that.
I try to time the uploads and processing, so it's like impossible. Anytime I've been under an embargo, it's like, okay, I'm not going to upload this and set it as private because something's going to fuck up and it's going to be viewable on some playlist, even if I don't put it on any playlist. It's going to be there.
Really scary. It was being in Japan and scheduling the time of the upload to go up, and I was like,
wait a minute.
Like what time is this?
Because you got to be doing math. Oh my god!
The calculations floating around your head.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Like a beautiful mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't really think of any moments like the normal stuff. You know,
there's gluten. You
when
suddenly
your frames
find
drop
gluten
below 500 frames.
You know what? That's what it is. When Comcast is dicking me. Yep.
No, I know what it is, Tefty. When your dog does not 1, not 2,
not 3,
not 3,
but 4. It was
that is. Yeah,
I was like,
that's an oh shit moment.
That's less like an oh shit, more like an oh shit.
Like almost you're impressed, you know? Like you're like,
impressed.
Yeah, that's my dog.
Should 4 poops be the title of this podcast?
Yes.
Sure.
There's been a recurring poop theme throughout the podcast. So.
Okay,
fourth stall. Fourth
you could just call it the quad dip.
The quad dip.
No, the quad dump.
The quad dump.
The quad dump.
Quad dump. We're running with it.
That could totally be a shotgun name. Like it fires 4 slugs. It's called the quad dump.
That's right.
I would want that weapon. I'd need that.
Oh, good.
Ross says, "What's the worst fruit to put into fruitcake, and why is it gumdrops?"
That's not a fruit.
That's what I think. Like, that's not even a fucking fruit.
I don't even know gumdrop fruit.
Ross, we gotta talk about fruit, man.
Yeah, the worst
We
fruit.
need to have a conversation.
Star anise, maybe? I don't know. What's that? There's like a prickly fruit, you know? I don't
Durian.
Yeah, apparently there are
Durian
recipes
fruit,
for using gumdrops.
But that's not a fruit.
But it still doesn't qualify as a fruit, even if you put it in a fruit cake.
Gumdrop
That's
is
almost
You
like
can't put it
That's
in a
almost
fruit, call
like-
it fruit cake and make it a fruit.
It's like almost like public education, like food standards talk.
Yeah.
Ketchup is a
Purple's a
vegetable.
fruit. Yeah.
Cell SSX says, "Are there any games that were critical failures but have a special place in your heart?"
Destiny.
Oh,
sorry.
Too soon.
No.
Savage, man.
Let's see.
Did anyone ever play 13?
Yeah.
XIII.
I heard about that. The Wii one?
No, it was
Xbox 3.
like original Xbox, like PlayStation 2, PC release.
Cell-shaded first-person shooter.
Cell-shaded first-person shooter based off a comic book franchise, like a spy comic book franchise. It had.
Sounds cool.
It wasn't. It was garbage. It was hot garbage.
It was pretty. It had so much promise, and I liked it because it was like the only game I had for my PC at the time. But it was a buggy mess. I think Ubisoft published that one.
Well, that explains everything.
Explains a lot. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the actors' names. Who was the original Batman?
Adam West.
Adam
Bob
West.
Kilmer.
Adam West did. I said original, not best.
That is good.
My bad.
Adam West did a voice for it. Who played Mulder?
Scully? No.
Scully played Mulder.
Fox Mulder.
I'm just going off
California
the top.
in Californication.
David.
Now, come on,
David
Patrick.
Duchovny. Yeah, I can't remember any of these names. Okay, David Duchovny did the voice of the main character in it, which wasn't actually a lot of voice acting. It was a lot of like the first person shooter, so grunts and crap when you jump. So it was good game.
For me, it's probably the original Assassin's Creed. It had so many problems, but it was so full of promise that I didn't care. And I loved running around that world and climbing up and down stuff. I loved the main character. The story was so weird. It didn't really make sense. There's so many like weird, repetitive missions, but I just didn't care. I loved the game.
I
don't know if it was a critical failure. I just don't think it was that great of a game. But and I'm probably gonna get flamed in the chat for it. But Kid Icarus, and on Nintendo, and it's special to me because it wasn't like it wasn't like one of those big blockbuster games, but it was special to me because it was the last game that my brother and he stopped playing video games, and I just kept playing them, but he stopped. But my brother and I played the absolute snot out of that game. And I remember
incredibly difficult.
It was. I loved it.
Was it difficult?
I loved. Yeah. There was parts of it that were hard. For at least at my age. I mean, we were young, and so I remember it because of the time that I spent with my brother. And my mom had set up the Nintendo in the garage, and we lived in Palm Desert in Coachella Valley, so it's 100 degrees in the summer, right? And she just did not want video games in the house, so she put a TV and a Nintendo in the garage, and it was easily like 150 degrees in the garage. And so my brother and I would be playing. She thought it would keep us from playing, but no. So we're like in our underwear, like we're like
sitting on a block of ice. Yep.
And so it's just a memory that sticks in my mind, and maybe one particular summer, but that's why.
I love that game as a kid. In fact, we borrowed it, and then the friend took it back, but it was like my brother's friend. He was 10 years older than me, and so I was like 6 or 7 at the time, something like that. And so my sister was calling to get the game again, and I kept on bugging my sister. I'd be like, "Hey, can you call so and so to see if we can get?" I call it Kid Icarus. If we can get that game back. And then I bugged her so much that she was worried that the friend thought that she was just calling because they liked her. It's funny. It sticks in my mind. But I absolutely love that game. Even like I had all the codes written down for progress. Remember, it didn't save it on the cartridge. You had to actually put in the.
You had to put them in every time. Yeah.
To continue.
When those cheat codes came out, they were like in Nintendo magazine. Remember?
Yeah.
They all the way in the back. What was it called?
Nintendo Power.
It was like
Nintendo Power. Yeah, and it was all the way in the back, and then it had like the cheat code section. And man, the Kid Icarus ones were awesome.
I love that game.
Yeah,
makes me want to play it.
That's good.
I'd play it again for sure.
I played the Surge this year, which no one liked at all.
The Surge?
It was like no one's probably even heard of it. It was like basically Dark Souls.
Dark
Souls. Dark Souls inspired, and it was like had huge problems, and it got really average reviews. But I was like, you know what? I really love this game.
All you have to do to turn a lot of people off from a game nowadays is just mention Dark Souls inspired.
Yeah, and they're like,
every game it's like this, but Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
It's the Dark Souls of this. And just stop. Stop.
I actually really liked it, and they just got some DLC out as well, which I plan to check out. But yeah, no one liked that game for some reason. Disappointing. Feel bad for the devs. They worked hard on it. They were the guys that made what would they make before that? It was called I can't remember the name now.
Was that another Ubisoft game?
No. This was an independent publisher, another indie publisher. What are they called?
I'm just kidding.
I can't remember the name of it now. But yeah, that was it.
Andy Martinez says, "What is an acceptable amount of time to eat a whole pizza? One sitting? 6 hours? 12 hours? Longer?
A whole pizza? How big is the pizza?
A whole
like 6 minutes.
Yeah, we need to know the size.
And where is it from?
Because like this is a whole pizza.
This is not an acceptable question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Too many variables.
I know. The fact is
Andy,
that,
right back next week. We need more.
Andy, like
details.
We need version 2 of this. Yeah.
Where is it from? How big? Like diameter?
Is it Chicago style? Because that just throws a wrench into the whole fucking situation.
Yeah, exactly. This is huge.
When days at that point.
And if we're talking like 24 hours, does that mean the next day the pizza is cold, or can we heat it? I mean, these are really important.
Well, we'll say that yes, if it's you can eat it however you prefer after the normal amount of time. Either way, if it's a Little Caesars pizza, you got like.
Then you just shouldn't fucking eat it because it's gross.
5-10 minutes tops.
Well, no, you've got about 3 to 4 hours because then it's just going to come right back
up. Josh Bryant says, "Why do people like eggnog? It's on the level of candy corn as being the worst thing ever created. Not even alcohol could save eggnog."
Can you explain to me what eggnog is, by the way?
It's disgusting.
I've never tried eggnog.
What is it?
Imagine like if
sweet
you
cream
had
with
a milkshake that's been sitting out in the sun, and then you put a little bit of alcohol in it.
What? Okay. I got the Wikipedia here, so we can all be on the same page.
Let's see what it actually is.
Eggnog, historically also known when alcoholic beverages are added as milk punch or egg milk punch, is a rich, chilled,
milk punch,
sweetened.
Right. That cleared it up.
Yeah, that cleared it up. Fun. Is a rich, chilled, sweetened, creamy, dairy-based beverage traditionally made with milk, cream, sugar, whipped egg whites, and egg yolks. Why didn't you say a whole fucking egg then? Which gives it a frothy texture and its name. And in some contexts, distilled spirits, basically in all contexts, Wikipedia, such as brandy, rum, or bourbon. Eggnog is traditionally consumed throughout Canada and the United States at Christmas season every year, often from American Thanksgiving until the end of the Christmas season. Eggnog has also... Hold on, this next sentence here. Eggnog has also gained popularity in Australia.
No, it hasn't.
Targets.
I'm sorry, but it has not. Okay.
Right next
Wikipedia
to Vegemite.
It doesn't lie.
You're eating your Vegemite as you're drinking it down with some eggnog.
Drinking our Foster's.
We had the Jez on like a month ago. He was all over the eggnog.
He said eggnog was the
his own brand. Jez brand eggnog.
Jez. You get Jez egg. Egg Jez.
I like eggnog. It's, I don't mind it.
Is it like custard? It sounds like custard.
Yeah, it's
like
got elements
really
of custard.
Okay.
It's got elements of custard.
It sounds like
because
alcoholic custard.
Okay, so there's a reason why I don't like it.
Raw egg.
And
you got really drunk one time, didn't you?
Got hammered off of eggnog and curdled eggnog coming up.
That does sound bad.
Not good. It is not good. Not good.
Let's all take a moment to just mentally image Pope Bear Ralphing eggnog all over.
Can we not call it Ralphing, please? Can we call it? Let's just go somewhere else with that.
Oh man!
Another reason why the name Ralph is the worst name, the worst of all names.
Yeah.
Spooky. Sorry. Spooky Blade 95 says, if you had to replace one of your hands for an animal's, what animal would it be?
Left hand.
Why do I feel Patrick's already thought of this?
He has. He totally has.
It's probably another like a species of primate, because then it would still have some sort of opposable thumb.
Monkey, gorilla.
Like a monkey,
and it would also be super long, so I could like climb stuff better.
Sloth.
Wait, is it replace it with an animal's hand or paw, or is it replace it with an entire animal?
I like that version of the question.
Monkey coming out of my arm.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like if you're gonna fix a chainsaw. Okay, yeah, that's much better.
Crocodile arm. Snap.
Thank you. You stole my response. Damn it. We're Australian. That was ours, man. That was ours.
Still have alligators.
No. Alligators are North America. Crocodiles are Australia.
Crocs.
Yeah.
Crocs.
Yep.
That's right.
Okay,
Crocodile Dundee. My gosh, Patrick.
In solidarity with my Australian brothers, I'm going to go with the stingray in honor of the late and great Steve Irwin.
Yeah. What if
it doesn't have hands?
Stingray on
you could take?
They don't have hands. It's a tail, and the question was definitely.
No, we changed it to an animal. You changed it to a whole
animal.
animal.
Have a stinger.
You just take a drop bear. You have a drop bear on your arm. That'd be amazing.
Animal?
If it's a whole animal, I'm going with octopus.
Really?
Yeah.
Clever, actually. That's clever. It feels like cheating.
I'm going with
I like it.
Wow, man. I think I'm going with the python.
And you always have like a octopus tattoo, which is super cool too.
Yeah, I could just, when the octopus isn't being usul,
Yeah.
make me look good.
Man, I want to change my answer to octopus. Fuck Steve Irwin.
At what point, like, is the animal going to be like shrunk down to proper size for your hand, or is it going to be like whole animal? Because if so, I'm just going to go unreasonable here and go it's like blue whale.
I reckon it works.
You're not going anywhere, man. You're like.
You're just some dude who's
attached to a whale at that point.
You stop being like the significant part of this equation. Did you see that blue whale? He had a paddle stuck to him.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Anybody else? Jim House says, if you could add any famous spacecraft from sci-fi to Destiny, what would it be? My vote is Lone Star's Eagle 5 Winnebago from Spaceballs.
Oh, that's good.
That was a good one, isn't it?
That's good. I'd say we need to put the Death Star in there. That'd be great.
pretty cool.
Could that be my ship? Like I could drive the Death Star?
Oh, I think it would be some enemy faction that you have to kill.
An enemy faction?
I don't know, man. I want you guys to be waiting for me at orbit. You know, your ships all come in zoom, zoom, zoom. And then my Death Star goes,
like,
guys, I just realized that the Leviathan might have been directly ripped out of the Death Star.
I think so.
We haven't destroyed it yet, though.
No, but I mean, like the concept of the Leviathan was ripped directly from the Death Star and just changed, reconfigured to have a mouth that sucks the planet up
instead of
a laser that blows it up. It's got an innie instead of an outie.
Mighty's got a little bit of that too, blowing up a star instead of a planet.
Yeah, but at a certain point, sci-fi, like you're kind of repeating themes.
True.
Yeah.
So I would choose the ship Serenity from Firefly.
Oh, that's a good one too.
With the whole crew. Because basically they're all Destiny characters anyway, so it may as well.
Oh yeah, I'm not. I'm getting this. You're getting the crew with the ship, right? So you get to walk on and be like,
it's a twofer.
Yeah, you don't go just get the ship. Yeah.
I want a Normandy, and I want Shepard and crew on the ship. That's what I want. That'd be amazing.
I like it.
And it kind of looks like it would fit as well. Like it just looks like it belongs in the Destiny universe. So it kind of just like slot straight in.
I feel like you could put N7 on any piece of Destiny armor and nobody would even notice.
And we'd be like, yeah, that fits.
That's true.
That's right.
I don't know. They noticed the keck on all the armor, so.
Let's be honest, the Vanguard armor logo kind of looks like it.
Yeah. It does.
No one said the Millennium Falcon, did they?
Too fast.
Overplayed.
Too fast.
Too much respect for it. Just like has to stay in that universe.
Okay.
Just don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
You know?
All right.
Yeah, don't want to mess with those licensing fees. Thanks, Disney.
That's right.
But what else can do the 12 parsecs?
Castle Run in 12 parsecs.
Shout out to everybody who's watching this live, who is not watching Star Wars and not.
I have seen Star Wars, by the way, because I live in the future.
Oh yeah, you have, haven't you?
I will.
So can you tell us the ending real quick?
I swear to God.
It's beep. No. It's really lumpy though. Wait till you watch it. It's a very, very lumpy film, but it's overall I enjoyed it.
What the fuck does lumpy mean?
That's not even a term we use.
I use that to describe a goddamn pillow, not a movie.
I describe
it means
it is uneven.
It means it is uneven. At moments it's like, fuck yeah, this is the best thing ever. And other moments are like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
We in America would describe that as a roller coaster where it goes up and it goes down.
I'm more exciting. You guys drink coffee, we drink tea. It's just a whole different economy of feelings and
drink coffee that's mixed with energy drinks. Okay.
Whoa.
You drink
Big
coffee
for yourself.
Unicorn.
Makes perfect sense.
All right. I think we're gonna call that an end for the podcast. And I thank you everyone for tuning in to the let me check the notes. 63rd episode of the Destiny Community Podcast. If you want to find more of me, I am at Holtzmann_YT on Twitter, where you can find me talking about my life attached to a blue whale.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me on Twitter at the Briar Rabbit. You can find me occasionally making YouTube videos. Just look for Briar Rabbit, or streaming daily on Twitch. Just look for Briar Rabbit.
I'm Tefty. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. You can catch the streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft. Typically start around 6 p.m. Pacific time on the West Coast. And my YouTube channel as well, Tefty Teft.
And I'm Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at Miss 5000 Watts.
And I am SkillUp, and you can find me on YouTube at SkillUp. And that's it, really. No more Twitch, sadly.
I highly recommend you check out his videos on Destiny. They're awesome. And I'm looking forward to that Division one. So thank you very much for coming on.
Me too.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for the invite. It was really awesome.
This has been Pope Bear. You can find me on Twitter at Pope Bear, or bugging these guys in their Twitch streams.
Calling us while we're streaming.
That's a lie.
Calling
You're
us
never
while
in my
we're fucking
stream.
streaming every Friday.
I lurk in everybody's stream. I never say
He
hi.
waits till you go live and it goes.
He waits till I'm on the 8th game of Trials, and it's like 4-4.
That's true.
And I get a call.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited that for everybody who's stepped up in our listener base, they have been putting in reviews on iTunes and helping us out immensely. You're helping the show by those reviews, and it's very much appreciated. Thank you very much. What's
the funniest review you've read? Is there any good ones? Nothing sticks out?
the best reviews are the ones that just talk about how they the relationships that our fans have built with us over the years. I mean, they just know, like, you can tell through the comments that they know us, right?
Yeah.
And that's what matters to me. It's like I'm reading them and I'm going, of course you get the ones that are say, kick Poper out the podcast. He doesn't, he's so toxic. Anyway,
they hate all of us. I don't know why.
That was me. Sorry, I was just really mad.
It's all of us. It's all of us at some point in the equation. But I think honestly, the ones that show that they're here with us every week, that they're just part of this family, and it's really cool. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
So next week we have Neil Kaplan on. He's the voice actor for Gaul. And in Destiny, I'm excited to have him on. He's a very talented voice actor. We'll be asking him all about his craft, and he has done voices for many, many, many cartoons and characters and other video games. There's a lot to talk to him about.
He was the original voice for Speed Racer.
What? Like the original OG Speed Racer?
Yeah, sure.
No, that was like a billion years ago. That's not possible. That's like 1950s.
There's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm really excited to have him on. Thank you very much for staying with us. I know sometimes we, make you guys uncomfortable. We go into different places that, ask and talk about different things that are going on that are not necessarily, that maybe put you in looking at the problem in a different way. And we appreciate you sticking with us and going and being part of this journey. Ultimately, we encourage you to continue to go out into the community and continue to have these conversations with other people. But remember, it's imperative to maintain, to be civil, to be polite, and to listen. And then be part of that concert of voices that helps to inform and produce a better game. And ultimately, that's why we're all here, to hang out, to have fun, to play, and to be and to hang out with our friends. So,
holy shit! Neil Kaplan did one of the voices in Beetleborgs.
I don't know what
awesome.
Yeah.
He was also the original
like
Yogi Bear, I believe.
Yes.
Original Yogi Bear. Pretty sure.
Cool.
Originally Yogi Bear.
He was the original voiceover for Charlie Chaplin as well.
Oh man!
Awesome.
All right.
I'm looking at the thing now.
That's great.
We'll see you next week.
So
guys,
can we?
right?
Can we?
Yeah, well, we'll see you all next week. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm just creeping on Neil Kaplan's IMDb page, doing research.
Being a fangirl.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you next week.
Oh my God, he was in Naruto.
I'm totally gonna ask him to say, "Hey, boo boo, go get one of those."
That's exactly what we should have actors come